This platform is independent, and we wanted to work with everyone across the spectrum. So folks are invited to share what they know, and the viewers makes their choice, and we ask the questions, and we give the just the opportunity to answer.
This craziness, man, I do not care. Why am I so anti-establishment? Because of what I've seen the establishment do to people. That's why I cannot be pro-establishment.
Power is in the hands of the people. And it really did. What we all witnessed is the government, they knew that they're heading in the wrong direction. They knew Gambians are speaking in the same voice.
What law in the books that says the government has power to come out and go after folks' private citizens' properties and demolish them because somehow the government interest?
The only way that we can salvage our country is when everybody that gets their hand dirty. Don't sit there with your expertise and just to procrastinate everything that people say or pontificate, what everybody says or does. Let's get our hands dirty.
Good afternoon. Brother Marong, another Sunday for the people, by the people. Bro.
For the people, by the people.
Exactly.
Is that not what democracy stands for, man?
It's all about. The place is loaded. Actually, it was Bangamari that came up with it when he launched this program by himself now. And kind of looking for a name, and he said this has to be about the people, and obviously that's how the name came about, for the people, by the people. And we try our level best to come here every Sunday, and basically, we want to believe, and we seriously believe, that when everything is said and done, the DNA of this platform is independent. The very DNA of this platform, Degulen is very independent. We open it, we make analysis, we call it as we see it. Sometimes we make certain parties mad. Sometimes they like everything that we are saying. For gisate lolurek, hamalne, you must be doing something right. Clearly, the platform is independent. Bisacheng may not be as independent. At least I believe I am. Sometimes I am. Sometimes people don't think I am. Sarian wrong. I believe he is independent. Sometimes people believe he believes he is independent. But when everything is said and done, this platform is open to every individual to speak your mind. But the way we want to do it, though, it's always with civility and respect. Because so defut lolu, then you are not going to get dissenting voices from different areas, people who believe in different things. And to do that, not only do you have to project independent, you also have to do it with respect and civility. And as we dive into our last program for 2025, we're going to look at issues now, Brother Marong. We call it a year in review. Some of the issues that we cannot tackle here go back and forth. We're going to look at that as well. We're going to be joined by Keba Nanko, PPP. The current government has been out there saying a lot about what they have done. And they would always say that if you look at what we've done look at what we've done in this short time compared to what we've done during the First Republic to the Second Republic. Now, there was a pushback from the PPP folks to remind them how this whole thing started. A country that was deemed to be improbable, and what the PPP government has actually done. But Brother Marong, I can't all be doing the talking now, my friend. Sometimes I get excited. You know how I am. I need to shut up for a minute and allow my brother from Vancouver. What's going on?
Yeah, as you rightfully said, you know, here in review for the people, by the people. I'm grateful as a family, but you and Coach, since we've been doing this, what? It's been 5 years or some 4 years. I don't know.
Nice.
But huh?
Time flies.
But you know, our relationship grows, and as you rightfully said, you know, you say stuff that doesn't align with people's liking, and that's okay, you know. But it needs to be civil, and you know, it should be diverse and independent. That's the you know work of the game. So, but it's okay. But personally, you know, I'm grateful for your friendship. I
Yes.
met your family several times, and I'm grateful. And you know, Coach too is a great guy. So the brotherhood grows, you know, it becomes a family. And if you don't know, it's just more than sitting on here every Sunday talking
Exactly.
about issues. We get on the phone, we discuss stuff. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
we disagree, but it's never personal, right? It's always you know cordial, and we term each other as brothers, and you know that's what it is all about. That you know it's been great, Father Moses. It's been, as I told you last week. Last week Monday, I woke up and a young man, Fariman Jallo, in Gambia, named his baby boy, very handsome baby boy,
Yes.
but for the matter. He named him after me, and it's Sarianjinho in Gambia. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful, and I pray, and I ask everyone who join us today, who are regular viewers, to pray for this handsome baby, for
Okay.
Allah's, you know, infinite blessings, long life and good health. And, you know, the world evolves. People are gone. People come in every single day. That's what it is. But I just want to share that, you know, and it happens. It's part of the year in review as well. So, you know, so woke up, prayer, Fajri, and there you go. You know, we
Absolutely.
named the baby after you. So just want to share that with you, Father Mose, and the esteemed viewers and
Yes.
followers of For the People, by the People. Yes.
Yeah. And of course, there are a whole lot of them that they cannot wait to join us every Sunday. It was just, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. I was having breakfast at a Waffle House,
Yeah.
and I received a call from, the name I think is Binta. And she called me and she was like, Boba Bente, Mangdon Utsa number. Because I used to work with your brother. Man teacher lawon mo munekon an inspectorate department. I've done the inspect schools. And I mean, she said a lot of things, a lot of good things about my brother that passed away. And with Munema yo linga yo man malagena hamsah sa brother. And that really touched me. You know, Munema man homon sana ya moma boka. And I'm on this for the people, by the people every Sunday. Mangi jakalo na yin. Munema suma dimas bi yep la de tege board just so that I can come and watch you guys. So what that reminds us, Sariyang, each and every one of us, Pasamba, anytime you're on a platform, there are a lot of people that are actually watching. And I mean, they are very independent, they are very mature. Clearly, I mean, different age groups. So it's always important for us to kind of you buy lolu hell, muy man, muy suma morom. Because there are a lot of people that are watching. But ñoo xam ne ñooñu ëpp xam-xam téeméeri junne yoon ci ñun li ñoo wax.
Yes.
You know, they have experience. I mean, and they're very intellectual, very analytical, and sometimes because it's just in we don't really know them really when we kind of delve into economic issues. I mean, it's just on the surface. I'm not know how many they're experts on that. When we delve on other issues, Linji Ham Bari would know. So again, I mean, but it's something that has to happen. We come here, we discuss issues, and I want to just send appreciation for that to that lady. Thank you very much. I really appreciated you calling me, going out of your way, trying to get my number, and because of extending your condolences for the passing of my brother. So I really, really, really appreciate it. And was it a week or 2 weeks ago that I said that Gambians are really, really very kind people, contrary to sometimes what we see on social media. They are. The balanga ko hamrek, like I said, you are your lowest. Chinga realize even people that you disagree with, they're really decent. And Sariang, I really want to also reciprocate this, because it was Banker, myself, and Pasamba on this platform. And then when Banker left, it was like everybody saying, oh, you guys need to bring somebody else. There was something Banker and I in Pasamba, because we've known each other. The chemistry was there. So bringing another person was kind of indie. Sort of kind of a thing. I mean, I obviously know Hamon Nala for a long time, going all the way back to Gambia L days. But I have gotten to know you better. And I'm like, why don't we bring this Sariang? I see him in his discussion. I've heard him on, I remember even 2016, you were one of the panelists. Was it with Mama Linger?
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what? There's something about him. In as much as sometimes our politics do not necessarily align, but he has this independent streak that I like. I think we should bring him on. But I've gotten to know you better. And there is one thing, two things. Really. It's your spirituality and love of family. That much I know. 100%. Your kids, they're your life. They're the ones that kind of get you going, keep you going every morning. Your spirituality, you don't play with it. So that says a lot about a human being. And the best thing that has happened to me is knowing you much, much, much closer. And then, of course, going to your wedding, to that beautiful Jainaba. In Rio. I couldn't miss it for the world. And it was just fabulous, without a doubt. Yes. So, in review. But there was something that you mentioned earlier. Bro, these kids dying in the Mediterranean, that is a big deal. Really. That is, Sariang, a big deal. There's a lot of, but before we do that, we have partners that join us here every Sunday. They make this thing happen, this show, really. Because the money that they gave us, we use it to basically StreamYard. And then we have to thank Basiru now. He's been the one funding this, paying for it every year so that we come here every Sunday. That says a lot. But again, our partners, Global Properties, it's always been there with us. So we cannot forget Global Properties. And of course, who else? Nilan. Yes.
No deposit, flexible payment plans, and lots of discounts. Get your Lakeview apartment today.
Yes, that was Global Properties. They are our partners in this endeavor. And not more than a partnership too. We all know when you live in the diaspora, owning a property back home, it's always a good thing. Investment purposes. And sometimes just having your house there so that when you visit every January or December, you're just walking into your house. That makes a difference. It's not like going in, because I remember 10, 15 years ago, anytime I go to Gambia, I used to go and stay in one of these hotels. That was but since then, I got my own makam, they call it, my own kir. I think it makes a difference. And what Global Properties is doing is giving each and every one of us that opportunity. You own your house, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, nice. You can use it as an Airbnb. And anytime you want to go to Gambia, hey, you don't have to call any hotel. You know how hotels are sometimes expensive and they don't give you the best. And another partner that we have, bro, who else? Savannah Event Hall. It's the holidays. And hey, give me a call and I will provide. nice ambience. If you have your weddings, graduation, all you need to do, call me, 404-824-0219. Send me on Messenger. Tell me, hey, we're having our ngente, whatever, and then we will be there for you. We're here for the community. Yes, of course, for profit making. But the whole idea of Savannah came about years ago in Nigeria when we used to go out there looking for banquet halls where we can have our annual July 4th independence celebration, you name it. And you know how it is sometimes. You go to these hotels, you can't bring your own food. And we wanted to find a place that is upscale, nice, beautiful, and then we can have our own Gambian events. The way we are, we come to these parties very late, and then we party till 5 a.m. So the idea was like, you know what? Why don't we get our own? And thus, Savannah Event Hall. New Year's Eve here in Atlanta. Ajera is ready. The New Year's Eve, organized by 4 organizations. GCO, Gambia Christian Organization. Ajera, Atlanta Gambia Emergency Relief Association. And then you have the Senegalese Catholic Organization. And then Senkat, another Senegalese organization. You know, we do that because we believe that Gambia, our community is small. But we also believe in one thing. We need to come together, especially when we have a whole lot in common. Whether you're talking about Senkat, a Senegalese organization, whether you're talking about GCO, the Gambia Christian Organization, or Ajera, we thought maybe we need to do something together. We decided that, you know what? Every New Year's Eve, all these 4 organizations will come together. And it's been very successful. What some of our countries, the challenges, for instance, there's a lot of talk about Senegal, the Senegalese government and the Gambia government working together to do A, B, C, D, E, F, those kind of things. Whatever challenges that they're confronted with, we have been able to handle those challenges within this community, coming together and doing things together, respecting each other's independence. In terms of Senkat, they have their own programs. We have our own Gambian Christian Organization, clearly an organization that has spirituality, and then the Catholic organization as well. So again, reminding everyone within the metro area, hey, come and join us at Savannah Event Hall for New Year's Eve. Don't be alone. Bring the wifey. And I just have a short ad here from them. I wish I could just, it's on my phone.
waaye nag boo nee doog ni Gambien yi waaye boo nee buubu ngaari ni Gambien yi dëgg la waaye nag koo ci tuddee Sénégalais day ñëw ci ñun macha allah dat bu rëy moo xew le 31 décembre bés bi nga xam ni fii lay xew ci Savannah Jooy suma xarit bi dogo bis la boo xamante ni bii nii dafa ñor 50 états yëpp dëgg la bis la boo xamante ni bii nii dafa ñor Atlanta ñëpp a koy waaj waaw fin d'année incha allah rabbi le 31 décembre dogo loolu ñu war cee jàkkaarloo Gambien te li ci gën a neex bu gën cee neex waaw mooy association yi nga xam ne ñoo ànd ci bis bi waaw macha allah boo ko gisee waaw mooy waa Ajara waaw Senkat waaw GCO waaw ak Sisi ak Sisi waaw tubaarikàlla rek préventive boobu ngaari waaw mi ngi jar $50 waaw jours yi gaa ngi koy jaay $60 ba pare dogo loo ci xamul suñu mbokku chrétien waaw ñoo ci biir ñëpp ci biir ndax ñoom it dëkk bi yàquñu fi dara lépp loo xamante ni bii nii Gambien yi ñu ngi ci biir ak sénégalais yi ñoom dañuy ñëw ànd ak ñun macha allah ci bis bi def ci liggéey bu rafet parce que ci gën a neex te couple yi tamit waaw surtout loolu couple yi dama ci insister couple yi jar naa wax couple yi waaw macha allah prévente yi $100 la waaye nag suuf si mi ngi nekk $150 ba pare bu fii di xam nga ni ku fi yàgg ñëw xam ne lekk yi tubaarikàlla day doy Savannah nga yàpp waaye neex gi mi ngi biir Savannah Hall macha allah lekk gi dina neex dina bari dina doy fii dina toj dina yànji ba pare ambiance bi dogo buubu ngaari ñoo koy ambiance dox dem ca 31
mu ne dox dem ca 31 ba. If you live in the metro area, if you live in Alabama, hey, don't miss it. Come down to Atlanta, Georgia, Savannah Event Hall. We will do the countdown at midnight, Senegambian style. Brother Marong, we're also going to be joined today by, there was a Coalition for Change. They had their talks, and we're going to be joined by my main man, Sol Baji. and he's gonna kind of give us how it went, and I mean where they're going from here. So we're looking forward to having Saul as well during the program. Brother Marong.
Yes, sir.
So what's your take on, clearly, was it last week? There was this announcement, 190 people perish.
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of the ocean, unfortunately. 190 Gambians, young people, walk into a boat, take this risk. Some would call it basically committing suicide. Some will say they don't have a choice, but something has to be done. And there are a lot of finger pointing going all over the place, that it comes down to the leadership. Some says, why don't we look at the parents? Some say the individuals themselves. But I think this is one issue that needs to be looked at, because when kids are going out there and dying, I mean, it is much, much, much more complex. Brother Marong, what's your take on it?
Yeah, Musa, thank you very much for sharing that. And yeah, definitely condolences to the families who are dealing with this huge loss. It's incredible. But at the same time, I think we have to have an honest conversation about this issue. It's a very dangerous journey. There are people who went through it. They are in the Western world, and they had impact on their families back home. But nevertheless, the journey is dangerous. And basically, if you're getting into those boats, it's either you survive or you passed away, you die. So, and as you rightfully said, there is a lot of mixed reactions. Some are even calling the government. Why does the government create a lot of enabling environment for the youths? But I want to be very fair to the government here, and I think I've been tracking their reaction to these issues, and I don't know what they could do more to curb this illegal migration, right? Because there is a choice. These are choices that they make. And in fact, last week, I saw on one of the newspapers a young man, the wife, and the baby. I mean, they all went through that journey. And unfortunately, they all perished. So, I mean, is it a lack of knowledge? Because taking your whole entire family through that journey, Musa, that's a risk.
It's a huge risk.
And what could the government do in that instance to say you can't? They are patrolling the coastal towns and making sure that there were a lot of instances whereby they even stop them, arrest them, parade them, they're doing what they can. But some will slip off because of the way the incentive that is actually associated with it. So where do they do? They need to go ahead and be aggressive in pursuing those who are benefiting from this, because basically they charge a sum of money, and these families, some of them goes in there, their parents will sell what they have and pay towards that journey, and it gets paid to someone else. I think there should be a massive crackdown on those illegal folks who talk these guys into taking these journeys, and are really, number one, it will require cooperation from the community. The government cannot do it alone. But also, the government is on the record too as well, Musa. You remember when Mr. Youth, the former trade minister before he became the defense minister, he articulated this point. He says the reason why even the government went into agreement, like countries like Saudi Arabia, Spain, and what was the other country? I think it's Italy or something. He says to take some folks there and do some exchanges for 6 months and do some type of pilot to see. And that was all geared towards ensuring that to mitigate this illegal migration. But what happened? What happened? They did a pilot. They took the first group. Some of them, when they're supposed to come back, they all disappeared.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure whether that agreement is in place. So I think, we have to be open, but even if they provide opportunity, there are people who are saying, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to look for greener pasture. And some of us, if we talk about this, said, oh, you know what? You are out there in the United States, been there for 30 years. You never want to come back to this country. But there are people who went through this back way. They did this, they did this. So the societal pressure is also there. We went to this place. He built this mansion for his family. These kids needs to do it. Where does the fine line? Where is the fine line? How does the government tackle it? It's very, very difficult, and I think folks need to own up to it, right? Because no government will tell you to get into a wooden boat through the Atlantic to go to Europe. I mean, they won't do that. Okay, and they cannot satisfy, even though there is just, we know that, Musa. People don't want to do what they're supposed. They don't want to do it. They want to go out, and these journeys are dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. I mean, you talk about last year. Khartoum lost a lot of young folks. This year, we're talking about, SA1 Ninyomis, about 190 people total, and some of them are like a family. So do they really, really understand what it entails? And I think where they said, I know when the folks that are returned, they go through some type of therapy, but do they share the experience?
Mhm.
How is that journey like, right? So for example, from point A to point B, what do you do? How are you guys crowded together? Do you guys eat? If you want to ease yourself within that journey, how do you do it within the midst of, men and women? How does that life goes on? And I think that should be something they should build on and sensitize folks that this is dangerous. There are people who survive on these and they are back there in the community. And those are folks that they need to leverage off and work with them and sensitize the communities and have town halls, sensitize folks, because this is happening. Now, someone told me Jinak is the epicenter, because Jinak, if you know the history about it, they say people, law enforcement don't go there. I don't know how true that is, but the fact that is happening is disheartening. And I think, yes, the government can do enforcement, but I think individuals can also stand up and sensitize folks that, it doesn't worth it to take your wife and your small baby on a canoe boat going down there. I mean, the transition is different, and it's very, very difficult now. This immigrant status and all that stuff, it's not easy as people expect. So sometimes I think having these conversations, it does. But I think government has been cracking down on these. They've been arresting them. They've been parading them. The CID has been doing, with their limited resources, they've been doing investigations and they've been arresting them. So I think the onus lies on the folks to take responsibility and sensitize their own families about the dangerous path. I mean, it's just dangerous because, as I said, one of the family members told me, I wanted to go this. I said, one thing that would bother me and bother my conscience until I die. If I give you that money and you go, something has to happen to you. I contributed to that, and it doesn't worth it. You can have your own little shop and sell whatever you get out of it. You survive on that. There's no guarantee that if you go through the Mediterranean, you're going to make it on the other end. So people need to be enlightened about this. And I think, honestly speaking, I am not going to fault the government for this. And I think they need to do more, yes. But I think they are doing everything possible to ensure that they mitigate the risk associated with, this illegal migration.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. Really, you've raised some important points. Not only that, but you've also kind of hinted the difficulty of having this conversation. And ligina yomba, moi to kind of use it as to politicize it, in other words, because this thing has become what I would say an existential threat, really, to our country. I mean, this is a serious business. When you have young people kind of getting into a boat, knowing fully well that there is a 50-50 chance, or maybe even 60-30 chance that they are not going to make it, and they're still willing to take that risk, that says a lot, really. Why are these young people so driven? And then there is this cliche, naka, Barca or Barsak, kind of. I mean, that says a lot. So the question, the fundamental question, because anybody who thinks that if this government was to be defeated tomorrow and that will be the end of kids taking the back way, you're mistaken. It's not going to work like that. But that is not to say that the government has a responsibility. And then we have to really, again, have an honest conversation. Why are these young people leaving? All of us, one time in our lives, we were young people. I remember, and I want to bring this as close to home as possible, because if we don't do that, then you will not be able to grapple what is going through the minds of these young people. When we graduated from high school, all of us, Nan Ataya Chikonbi, James Senegal, Fofu, do our thing. And all we talk about, either them Sweden, them Norway, or them America, all of us, I wasn't interested in a job. We all wanted to, because we see other people, semester isugai, they're the ones, they have the money. They're the ones that look fresh, cosmetic as you want to call it. They're the ones that the girls are all swamping all over. They're the ones that are building the nice houses. So all of us, in a way, we're like, you know what? There is something about this. If I really want to be successful, I have to go out. Now, obviously, we didn't have back way then. What we had was sitting down and writing applications to all these American universities, places that we have no clue. I have this joke that I always say. This friend of mine, I mean, he passed away, Mamadou Mbaye, and he was accepted to Freeman Junior College in South Dakota. And he had a phone call with, I think it was director of admissions, So munema mos bilai so dege nim oismo tursa. Munema Mamadou Mbaye. Just that alone make all of us so nafse. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is these young people are driven. They are driven because they believe that their success, the success of their families, is actually leaving the Gambia, going to Europe for greener pastures. That's what they believe, and they see it. And look, we don't even have to look far. When the diaspora as a constituency is basically the main pillar saving the economy, that says a lot. So if we are going to deal with these kids going out there and dying in the seas, I'm not going to say solely and wholly the government is responsible. No, but do they contribute to it? Of course they do. Because unless and until we have a government that can create real opportunities, you know what, man munay neka Gambia, and I'll be able to get married, I'll be able to have a young kid, I'll be able to have decent housing, the basics. If they believe that that is possible, and they weigh it compared to taking that risk, again, unless we have an honest conversation, because it's not always like you said, Europe has changed. Whatever you believe, it may not be the truth. You go out there, you risk your life, and the one that you mentioned, any sane person, you grab your kid and your wife, and you go into a boat that the chances are you guys are going to Paris. I mean, that's suicidal. What can the government do? There are two things. The government has to build an economy. That's not going to happen overnight. The government will make an argument that look at what we are doing when it comes to, TVET. The whole idea behind TVET is if we give the Gambians the skills, if we give them the know-how, if we do all of this, hopefully that will also help. If we create the enabling environment in the country, that's going to take a minute. Really. But do they have a responsibility? Of course they do. Are they really? Now, I'm not sure how much are they doing to stop these boats from leaving. I don't know how aggressive they are to make sure if you're found to be transporting these people, I mean, you'll be charged with murder, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure they're putting emphasis on that. I do not believe that we're having an honest conversation instead of just trying to score political points. Because any opposition party can definitely, and I get that, to say that, look, this is happening because the kids are desperate. The government isn't doing what they're supposed to do. They're there for themselves. The National Assembly, they're enriching themselves. You go, I mean, all you have to do is join the ruling government. Gambia has become the zero-sum game, the culture of our politics. If you want to be successful, toe the line, join the government, say good things about them. That's how you can be successful. Again, we need to have an honest conversation. Parents, they're equally responsible because they're the ones sometimes providing the funding for their young people to take this risk. Because they're looking at their neighbors. Domam jangi dem Europe rek, so way ñu ne la xay. Suma dom ñi day bërek dem rek la dem America. Why fimne, you see, building them nice housing, bringing electricity to their houses, all the good things. So if you're a parent, you're like, you know what, you might as well take the risk. And that is really what is happening. And again, Mangomnani, I mean, this is an important issue that cannot be just put in the back burner. We have to have, like you kind of alluded to, town halls where government officials, where the opposition, where the religious leaders, and everybody to keep having this conversation. Nelly Jaro Kofi. Teban Fogomana sa Europe, Namelon at America Fini. I mean, some of us are stuck. We've been here for 40 years. What do you expect? But is America the same thing? Like you come to this country, the next few days, your brother or King Hamne Mola Dalal, the fly you put the social security office, nga amsa social security card, nga amsa ID, and those are the two things that you need to be able to go out there and find a job. Well, it's not like that. It's almost impossible. Really, it's absolutely, I could say it's very impossible. I mean, there are a lot of Senegalese Nijar through this Nicaragua. They rely on people like me, small businesses within the Atlanta area. They may call them pair, Nakati. I mean, that's how they're hustling. And these are people, they must have, the guy told me that they spent something like $10,000, $15,000 before they were able to get here, going to Nicaragua. And now, how long is it going to take you to even raise that $10,000, $15,000? When you're relying on small businesses like us, give you a job for $100 here and there. But, and this is not only a Gambian problem, these are Senegalese. So clearly, it's an African problem. And we're not the only one. We're not the only country. I mean, even there are Asian countries that are doing the same thing. I mean, coming from the Koreas. So now, again, I think we have to...
And I think the data call too is important. Because, I listened to this young man. He's part of this immigration in Europe somewhere. His name is Ibrahim Asani. I think I watch him talk. Huh? No, not Sonko. Sonko, Yaya is a activist. Yaya is an activist, but there is an actual guy, Ibrahim, I think his last name is Sani, who is actually part of an organization. If these folks are stuck at sea or they had a distress call, they rescue them. So he was talking and, he said even police officer. One time he was telling me, he was explaining that there was a police officer or prison officer somewhere said, I'm going to go. So I think when you are serious, what I expect is the government needs to look deeper, pull the data and say, hey, we have these things going. And why would a police officer be so intrigued to say, you know, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go there. So there's something about it. So they have to be really, really careful what they do out here. And I think I'm not going to, as I said, I think they've been Musa, they've been patrolling and they've been actually arresting people. I think a couple of days ago, they even arrested, I think, 100 and something folks with their new machine for the canoe and all that stuff. They've been doing gradually, and I think they just need to ramp up, sensitize people, and incentivize it. Do
Exactly.
community policing. You know, say, hey, if you see something, say something. This is the tip line and all that stuff. And you have an aggressive posture to fight against this illegal migration, because I think, man, it's destroying communities. Last year, Katong has a huge number that perished. This year, and this is just not a Gambian problem. We can talk about Senegal. Senegal, with all the stuff that's going on in Senegal, there are people who are migrating in numbers. I mean, taking this route. Mauritania, it's the same thing, you know. I mean, so is a huge issue, and I think it requires, you know, multi resources, and you know, you will hear Senegal arrested a boat and all that, and I think collaboration and all that need to ensure that they tackle this. But it's not just a Gambian problem; it's a huge problem within Africa itself. You know?
It is. And again, the worst thing we can do, I know sometimes it is very tempting to politicize it. I mean, remember before even Pastef came to, I mean, during the time of Macky, Pastef used to use that against the Macky government, saying that because of the Macky Sall government, I mean, they have not been able to provide the enabling environment, building the kind of economy that will keep these kids home. But even after the Pastef came, I mean, again, it's going to take time. I'm not trying to dish them or anything like that, but they haven't changed things that much. So again, we have to have an honest conversation. The government has a responsibility, no doubt about that. Really, people are leaving because there are no jobs. People are leaving because there are no future. But again, some of the things are very difficult to justify. Like somebody just wrote that these are kids, grade 9, grade 10. You ain't order them school. How in God's name? At least sometime. You don't even think about it until you graduate from high school. And then the next step would be, where am I going to go to college? There were no universities then in the Gambia. So the next step, the few scholarships that will either take you to Forobe, University of Ibadan and Ile-Ife, or in Ghana. Those were the possibilities if you want to get higher education, or them Gambia College. So those are the options. The options were very limited. So university education wasn't there. So most of us at that time, it was like, okay, write letters to all these different colleges in the US. Some of my friends went to Norway, some went to Sweden. But I don't see anyone can really justify a middle school decided somehow I'm just going to go the back way. And this idea of you can make it quick, it doesn't work like that. I met some Senegalese. I told you about these guys that I usually called to come and help me do work. Munema ñun suñ xarit yu bari ñi nga xamne ñu ngi won Sénégal dañ doon business nekk ci business. Dañ decided ñu jënd ticket delluwaat back ñu ne parce que liggéey Amérique bi dafa metti jaru ko. I'm serious. I mean, these are people spending $15,000, $20,000, ended up, when they got here, they realized, America tur bi dafa rëy. You know, you have this feeling, because of course, boys is ñëwee ci December bi nii ñu ngi amee dollars yi, of course. But bu leen naantere ñooñu suñ delluwaatee fii ñeneen ñi seen bill si sax moom bu ko dégg la suñ maas gi la. I mean, things are not that easy. Demee wut noonu. Especially if you can your amulo papers. It takes, I don't know, in this day and age, I don't see how you can get a social security card. And in the absence of that, there is no way you can find a job. Getting an ID is a whole different matter. You remember when you were in Wisconsin. This was years ago when America, my in-laws, they drove all the way to Wisconsin because everybody was saying Wisconsin Monga Fanga Muna ID card. And then you were the one who basically helped them. I mean, those were the days. And I'm talking about what, 15, 20 years ago? I mean,
well, I think, yeah, Joe, no, Musa, it's not 20 years, man. It's almost 28 years ago you're talking about.
So at that time, they couldn't get an ID card from Atlanta or some of the states. So Gambians at that time, they were saying, "Why money? Like they get an IDB." So they may Wisconsin, Nehna Punga America, so they may New York, so they may Philly. But bro, in this day and age, it is almost impossible to get an ID card or to get a social security card. And if you don't have those two things, domuna am ligay. Absolutely, you cannot find work unless under the table you run into some of these African businesses. Then you dimbalelin, you fail a $50 or $100. Can you live on that? Some of them for housing. You a masjid within the Atlanta area. Guys they have nowhere else to live. Apartment within the metro Atlanta, you're looking about $1,500, $2,000 a month. I mean, that is a lot of money.
And Musa, there was one thing that I don't recall. I do not know that, because, you know, they are everywhere. And I was talking to one of the guys, and he said, when they come through this back way, Nicaragua, you know, they give them like a work authorization and all that. But they still have to go through a process, and they have to go see a judge. So I think most of them are given like, you know, their authorization is for 5 years, but there is a set date for them to go see an immigration judge, and that's the person who that's the individual who needs to decide your fate, whether, you know, your status push on or not. So I mean, some majority of them, their hearing is coming up in 2026 and 2027. And they are very nervous. And I told, you know, I said, we pray that things go in your way. But yeah, that is something that I realized lately, that they are scheduled for a hearing with a judge to decide on their fate, which I didn't know before. I thought, you know, it was, but yeah, I think that is also something that people need to keep in mind. And with the craziness going on right there,
under this Trump administration,
and some of the judges who execute the law and are fair and interpret the statute and the interpretation of the law are getting fired because somehow they approve a lot of cases, you know. So it's just a crazy thing, man.
Yeah, there's someone who remarked that people coming from Nicaragua are not only Senegalese, Gambians too. Yeah, Gambians too. But I can tell you one thing: the majority are Senegalese. This is not trying to.
And Guinean. I mean, there's a lot of Guineans too.
I'm telling you, in the minority. I mean, some are, but let me put it this way: I live in the Metro Atlanta, and I deal with a lot of folks from Nicaragua. I'm yet to meet one Gambian. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Gambians are coming via Nicaragua too, no doubt. But I'm telling you, they're in the minority. The majority are Senegalese. And that's not like targeting Senegalese or anything like that. They did what they had to do because things are tough back home. I mean, whether you live in Senegal or you live in Gambia, I mean, young people are making these calculations. But all we're trying to do is to have an honest conversation saying that maybe, I mean, is it worth the risk? To some, you're going to see some, yeah. They come here, they get lucky, and they start doing things that they couldn't do when they were in Gambia or in Senegal. No doubt about that. Really. I mean, a good number of them. But the majority, I can guarantee you it's not going to be smooth sailing. No doubt about that. Things have changed. The amount of risk, the amount of investment, the amount of energy you put into it, if you are able to master it and you do the same thing back home, I can guarantee you, you may just be better off. If you're going to take $10,000, $15,000, I mean, looking at the risk and everything else, and you say, you know what? I'm going to make it here in the Gambia somehow. $15,000. Baby, $15,000. I know for a fact it can get you 2-3 taxis, Mercedes-Benz yellow cab in the Gambia. $3,000-$4,000 for a taxi. I'm just telling you. I mean, that's just an idea. I'm just telling you.
But I understand what you're saying. But think about it.
There's lot.
Think about it. I don't want to forget this for you, but I get what you're saying. But trust me, if I post, I'm going to take an example of myself. I'm here in the United States. One time I posted the picture where I had the video at the market. I'm cutting meat. Oh, man, there was so much negative stuff. Oh, Sariang, we didn't know you were a butcher in America, and all that stuff. So I was like, no, I get what you're saying. You take that investment. People are making it out there. People, even that motorbike that they make taxis, but there's a stigma. You do that, automatically they had this negative connotation to what you're doing, meaning that, you should not be doing this. I told them, I keep it real. Yes, I'm a butcher, and I'm Badibunka butcher, man, and I'm very proud to be Badibunka butcher, man. Even if you do it tomorrow, I'll be a butcher in America. But what I'm trying to say is, you think about how people see these things. They think everyone needs to be in a suit, needs to be out there. And that's not how real life goes, No. And one person was like, we thought you only had this business. No, I work for the federal government. I retired from the military. But they don't know, because if they see this automatically, their instincts clicked in that it's somehow negative. I mean, you should not be doing that. Who am I? Why? Well, the folks that are feeding their families and doing that, am I better than them? I mean, there should be some type of humility as well. But I think this whole notion that people should not do these things are bad. And when you were saying this old taxi driver, oh my Jesus Christ, you are talking about someone getting I'm a taxi driver. This stigma. But you have to be who you are and pay attention and don't pay come on, man. So when I get butcher, how many whole lime I sell a day? There's a lot, man. Pocket. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, you get these things from people. I mean, every single day.
I'm just saying again, because that $15,000, you may not think that it's a lot of money, but the amount of time it's going to take you to save that $15,000 in the US. So amu dimbal lalawade. So amu dimbal. Where to live, where to eat, how to eat, where to eat. I don't know how long it's going to take you to raise that $15,000. Bilai. I mean, we know. Ñinga gis ñu ñew semester sax. Bro, dañoo dajale pass bi. Sometimes $2,000. Dañ ko dajale. It doesn't come like that. Like President Barrow would say, it's not easy like that. It's not going to be easy like that. So don't be fooled with somebody with an airline ticket. I mean, and carry a few dollars with them, $1,500 or $1,000. It's not like that. All we're saying is this. And also, before we allow Saul, because Saul has some important things to talk about this coalition for change. The other thing is this. I think it helps Sufekene. You have the necessary training. Because this TVET education, or even I've met some guys from Senegal, from Nicaragua. They have skills. Boy, they are much more marketable. They're the ones that can come here overnight and start making money. Because you know how to do construction, you know how to do tiling, you know how to be an auto mechanic, you know how to do carpentry. You may know. It is going to help you. Why you just graduated from high school, the Gambia that I used to know, we memorized to pass history or literature, and then you America fini. I can guarantee you the best job that you're gonna have is Rahasbo. And there ain't nothing wrong with it because I've done it for years. Understand what I mean? But that's what you're going to end up getting. And these are minimum wage jobs. They don't really pay much. That's all it's a Gambian. You think they're handle 8-hour job washing dishes? Yeah, ain't easy. Yeah, bro, you ain't be the for meeting. So what I'm saying, in other words, is get the skills back home. Get training in doing some of these things. So new access skills. If you graduated from the School of Nursing, you have those skills. If you are into construction, then so new a fini. Even if it is going to be nakalako guide oeza, when they pay you under the table, sir, you're much more marketable than someone who doesn't have the skills. So that really helps. But again, there has to be an honest conversation that we cannot politicize. And we speak honestly and frankly by all different stakeholders and say, how do we curb this? How do we sensitize, like you said, so that our young people are not going to get carried away, taking this risk and end up dead? Because so they say, seriously. But I mean, is it worth it? I don't believe that. Really, I don't think it's worth it. Honest to God, I don't think it's worth the risk. 9 out of 10, they're not even going to make it. I mean, there has to be a better way than kind of jumping into those boats. Brother Saul, it's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Musa. Good afternoon, my brother Sarian. It's good to be back. Can you guys hear me?
What's going on, Saul?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Well,
Yeah, we can hear you, Saul. Gen nga ñoo gisee nag, gen nga ñëw ci platform bi de, ana dang ñu boycott on.
wow, dama leen boycott kay. But no, I mean, sometimes so good if you just have to be away from the public view for a little bit. Yaga na si social media bi lu bari bari depuis 2015, 2016, the waxtaan something different. But your man Tyler Perry always says that sometimes it's good to be away for a little bit.
Absolutely.
But for you guys who are doing this on a weekly basis, I mean, you don't have a choice, so to speak. Dangin fi wara nekk di sensitize nit ñi. And as the year wraps up, thank you very much for the good work you guys have been doing. I mean, you celebrated 10 years, was it like last week or the week before, of these for the people, by the people. And some of us have participated in the past, filling the void when time required.
Absolutely.
So we're grateful for this. But yeah, legi lola rek mangi vacants. So I think what we have been doing in the past year and a half would probably begin to exfoliate. It's like a flower pot. When it starts to open up, then you see the petals and everything in there. Then the bees would probably come in and start to, take some of that stuff that's in there to go and feed themselves. But then at the same time, then you have the germination of seeds because they're transferring all of the stuff that needs to go from one plant to another. Long story short,
Yeah.
I'm going to transition to what you guys were talking about. New lack of constitution languages.
Correct. But I'm just on Lusa, the lady that I referred to, that was one of her emphasis. When I what the lack of local languages. Definitely, and we try. Why am I affair direct sometimes?
Yeah. Well, local language, they have a point, but when they fight in a platform,
exactly.
They're friends of the Gambia. These are people who want to know what's going on in your country. If you want to have somebody who is going to support a cause, sometimes it's good to speak in the language that they understand.
Exactly. And right. Themselves.
Huh?
For me and Sarian to have a very good, fluid conversation, honestly, is for us to do it in English. I'm just being honest. Because Sarian, obviously, he can dabble in Wolof.
Yeah.
I will understand, but then I can draw conclusions. Totally, that's not what he is saying. Conversation. Degante bu correct. Now, local languages, I support it 100%. But legi, I mean, there are challenges though, no doubt about that. I wish all of us can speak good Mandinka, or all of us can speak good Wolof, bu deger. Nga xamne duñu rerante. Ba pare ak ñi ñoo deglu. Am na ñoo xamne they don't really understand Mandinka. Am na ñoo xamne they don't understand Wolof either. So where do you leave them? I mean, that's what I would call the unfortunate situation of our history. Call it that. But Moindega, I wish they were teaching these local languages at school. Then we wouldn't be having this problem. But Saul, to the reason why we kind of reach out to you, then there was something that was said the last program. There were parties. I mean, I think, what's her name again? Marisok. That basically said, you guys did not reach out to her. And then, of course, you sent a response that, oh, wait a minute. We did. And Kebafun was able to send me some information to say that there were attempts and that they reached out to Marisok as well. But we've had other parties. The United Democratic Party, flat out, came out and said that they were not reached out to. I mean, at least some of their folks were saying, so we thought it's important to kind of not only level, but also you guys had the meeting. How did it go? And where do we go from here? Because what you guys are doing, everybody is saying in the absence of a coalition, these are people now, they want change, that they don't want Barrow to be re-elected. What people are saying is, in the absence of a coalition of parties, Barrow will be re-elected. So whatever you told me, you guys are on the right path, because that's what other people are saying. So how did it go? And what is your response to the idea some of these parties were not reached out to?
Okay, I'm going to pedal back a little bit, Musa, because you guys were talking about something critical and absolutely very important.
Right.
That is this irregular migration. Degana Lingawa, Senegal's population is tenfold ours, because I'm like, what do they have? Like 17 million?
Yeah, about that. 13, 14 million.
Okay. So you get 2 million. So it's 2 million, 2.7 million people. But this kid, Ibrahima Migration, was on the platform yesterday, Kerfatu, and he broke down. Dama fogne ñun Gambia, politics be sometimes that they take all the win.
It get in the way.
Instead of looking at some of the other issues that are impacting us. Mënuñoo am a democracy, mënuñoo am politics, mënuñoo am réew lu fekk xaane suñ di youth folk. Yow bi nga jógee Gambia, you were a young man. You were talking about having these experiences when you come to the outside world. But at the minimum, Musa, you went to sixth form, Demgov sixth form. If I'm wrong, correct me. You went to a very good school, St. Augustine's High School.
They went to St. Augustine, they went sixth form.
Okay.
I went to the elite school.
Okay. So some of us, man-Muslim ladem, did not go to sixth form. But at least coming here, the aim and the objective was to go to college. And once you finish going to college, then you finished and get some kind of a degree or some specialization. Then I put into employment. We started working. I was a boss boy in Detroit. Woke up in the morning, go there. We were earning $3.75 an hour. So when the general manager Greg gets the tips from everybody else, the table after we clean the tables, you should see us. We have pictures. We walk around, clean the tables, and then people will leave $1 or $2 on the table. You collect Lulu. At the end of the day, the general manager says that amongst 5 of us, I'm laying $10, $15, you take it home.
Correct.
On days that it's slow, we don't get much, maybe $10. So you pay $3.75 an hour. But the bottom line, dem janga, I'm a degree, so that you can be able to do something for yourself. Because now you present your credentials, we have not done this for our country. Mandegana politicians back in 2014, 2016. They were out there in the West talking to the surrogates and people that we have 400,000 youth who either don't have the requisite skills or graduating from high school, they're dropouts, or if they did, they didn't go to college to learn these skill sets to be able to actually sell themselves for employment.
Mm.
It's a major problem, and this is stuff that politicians say. They know these numbers. They've said that. This young man, Ibrahim Migration, talked about the fact that last year we had 1,600 Gambians who perished in the Mediterranean Sea or somewhere around Egypt and Libya. They collect data. He substantiated all of this. And then there was this article that talks about migration that said in 2017 to 2018, something like, we lost about 3,000 youth. Réew munta dox lu fekk ndaw yi ñoom lañ develop ñu jox leen the skill sets ñu mën a develop réew. Moussa Dieng, man yow Sariang. Sariang is doing his business. I'm doing stuff here. You and I cannot go to Gambia and start building infrastructure. We don't have the energy to do that. We can sit in the office and come up with the technology and do the designs. But you and I cannot go out there and put out 14, 12, 13 hours of hard labor to build the infrastructure of that country. Muninko, Arbabaro Munuko, most of the people surrounding him can't do it. So if we frustrate these young people, we're just failing our country. That's the problem. I'm going in Africa, but I'm just going to put it out like that. The United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, these are Muslim countries, right? Let's use those as an example. They don't believe in all of this mythical nonsense, but they've developed their countries. It's all a bunch of nonsense. I mean, the police can't go to Jinek, but then you can go to Sariang's village and enforce the law, but you can't go to Jinek Bara and enforce the law. And the Inspector General of Police is sitting there believing in this nonsense. Jinek Bara, something is there, can move on. None them for when you send that in there.
But I wasn't seriously. Is it really?
This kid.
So they don't have a police station in Jinak then?
No, this young man was saying that 4,000, listen to this, Musa. We have 4,000 youth, most of them from outside the other countries in West Africa, because the enforcement has been stringent in all of these other countries, except for Gambia. Getting on these boats and perishing in the sea. And the police is saying Jinek is a no-go area. They can't go and enforce the law. So what country do we have? So let me transition to the question you asked. Yes.
Musa, I just want to point out there is a police station in Essel, and actually in Bara, so where you crossed and Amdalai, and I'm not sure how far Jinak is from those people. Yeah, but I just wanna just I'm not taking any brief for the government or whatever. I mean, I'm just trying to point out that it falls within North Bank. So, but there is a police station and there is Amdalai, and that somehow there is no enforcement. Yes, that's a concern. But I just want to point that out that there's police station and Faravenia has an army post, so they just need to ramp up. There's no excuse for folks.
If you go there, you die. Is that
that's the belief. It's a myth. It's absolutely no basis. Absolutely, that there's no truth to it. They should go in there and dismantle that place like no one's business. I mean, I'm just letting you know.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, Musa. One guy just retired. He was the station officer at Amdalai. So I know a little bit about that. Sariang knows more. Why, yes, Bara Amnan police station, which is right there. So Jane is a ferry terminal. You see it right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Amdalai. So, but the key point is, Moine, not by demystify all of these things in Africa. Yes, we have our culture, but when it comes to law enforcement, you just don't isolate an area and feed can feed them. But how do you enforce the law in a country when you're assuming that this place can do? So those 4,000 young people are actually taking the boats and moving. 2 years ago, Hali Perison in Mauritania, they left Bara. So this is a major problem. So going to your question about invitation. First of all, I'm going to read the mission statement and the vision of what Coalition for System Changes, and I'll answer your question. Our mission statement is to facilitate the mobilization of Gambians at home and abroad to achieve peaceful political change by uniting behind a visionary presidential candidate for the 2026-2028 election cycles. It doesn't end in 2026.
2020, yeah.
We are dedicated to building a coalition that ensures the establishment of a government committed to eradicating corruption, implementing critical reforms that we should have implemented back in 2016. We want to reduce poverty. We want to foster a new era of transparency, an era of accountability, an era of probity and patriotic purpose. That's our mission. What's CSC's vision? To see a transformed Gambia, a nation of integrity, shared prosperity, and vibrant patriotism, where a responsive government faithfully serves the needs and aspirations of its people, securing a just and thriving future for the 21st century. We are not a political entity, but we are apolitical. That means, yes, we want to engage in politics, but we are not a political party, number one. Second, we had our event on Saturday, the 21st of December, and we have been engaged in political parties. Musa, you were in Atlanta in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 political parties attended our invitation.
Mm-hmm.
We had that event. About 24 people, somewhere around that, came from Atlanta and you attended.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very small attendance.
Right.
But it's like I say, JFK. If John F. Kennedy didn't believe back in 1965, 67 about the mission to the moon, because everybody was saying it's impossible, you can't do that. At the same time, Sputnik with the Russians, they were actually trying it. They actually put a monkey in one of these spacecrafts that they created to go there. And there was a Russian astronaut who sacrificed, said, I will put my life on the line to go up on the moon. This was back then when the competition was high. Today, Musa, you and I are here. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, and we're communicating. You're in Atlanta. Sariang is in Seattle. Our Gambians are in their homes, utilizing a system that if JFK believed in what they were saying and said, forget it, it can't be done,
yes,
we wouldn't be having the platform that we're using.
Absolutely.
And the satellites wouldn't be flowing around where we are able to communicate with our families through WhatsApp, paying dimes or nothing. Time bi malawa affaire suñ boss boy liggéey ñoo def Detroit. Man suma amé suma tip dama daan dem with AT&T. You remember this?
Yes.
FCI.
Yes.
$2.50 la day def si pay station living bi paying machine bi sen living bi sen call.
Yeah.
Buga wax suma fiancé then my wife now. And it'll take me only 2 minutes and I'll lose my money. Today you can call your family in Gambia through WhatsApp. Nga wax ben bor set.
Definitely.
So there has to be belief about what people do. Did we succeed in Atlanta? No,
Yeah.
but we knew we were going for something. So
So we also, just quickly, we also have Keba Nanko. He's going to be joining us for a totally different issue.
okay.
So okay.
I'm not. This is not going to be the politics that you're used to. I'm just giving you a background of where we started, so people can understand what we are all about. And Keba Nanko of PPP, Nuinala.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yes. So quickly, Musa. Atlanta, 2 people came. Sobea sent a representative, and Gambia for All, BB Dabo sent a representative. They all spoke at our event. And then we walked away and we said, okay, now it's time for us to fine tune what we're trying to get at. So we came and we kept walking. We set a date. We were in Gambia this July month, Demona, Kebafun Demona. We had meetings with people down there. We engaged the CSOs. These are the civil society organizations. And we talked to them that we want a different take this time around. Everybody must see themselves in a potential coalition for system change or a potential grand coalition, if we have one. So on the 21st of December, Balalo did invite an UDP. If you go to our website, coalitionforsystemchange.com, I have posted a Canva presentation that will show the list of all the individuals we have contacted and their phone numbers and emails. So that's settled to see. Did the UDP come? No, but UDP, family member, so during that, I think it was on that day, and they were up in the country. My thing is, I think we need to make sure we keep our people abreast so that we don't become in the defense of trying to explain. We don't want that.
Right.
Everybody knows how soft I am when it comes to these political parties. I think the UDP has sacrificed more than any other political party in that country. Suffering with Adama Barrow, not Adama Barrow, but Yaya Jammeh's behavior and brutal behavior and persecution. So if you don't give them respect, then that's an insult. We have to do that. But if you are setting conditions by saying, "Man balama them to have a conversation about a coalition, these are my demands." I did negotiations at Wayne State when I went to school. You keep your cards and then you go and attend and listen to what the person has to say. Then you can say, "Okay, I've listened to you, but this is what my demands are." And then the negotiation begins. Okay, that settles that issue. We have invited at least about 200 individuals, but we wanted to select a set of groups of people who would have 2 representatives, and in some cases, 1 representative to attend the meeting. So in the morning, what our plan was to have a discussion of getting to know each other. And then in the afternoon after lunch, we would go into small committees and discuss how we start to build the framework of what this coalition is going to look like, so that everybody can see themselves in it. So 73 people, attend event B. Political parties were there, namely Jisnien Esambay Fall, Mungfa, Jisnien Ki Nagaturati, LJ, Lamin J Dabo of NUP. You saw this young man, it's called President Ka, with Nagaturati, sir. Yes, that young man came. And then you have this guy who's a religious imam. He's also announced that he was going to run.
Jalo, yeah.
Yes. And then you have Benjamin Roberts.
Yeah, Benjamin Roberts
used to work as a minister of tourism at the tail end of Yaya Jammeh's government.
Yes.
Mungfawon. And then there's a group of people, but your website, if people go, they'll find out. I think we had about 6 or 7 political parties that attended. The ones that didn't come for whatever reason, but Bibi Dabo, I know they wanted to come. They've not responded in email that they were going to be there. Something must have happened because Bibi was there in Atlanta, not necessarily, but he sent a representative.
Right.
So in a nutshell, we have communicated to so many individuals, and the evidence is there to prove that we invited anyone that we thought is aligned with our mission and vision to attend the summit conference, Musa. Did you have any other question about how this went?
So where do we go from here? After that first meeting, I guess you guys were able to get to know each other and the introduction and all of that.
Yeah.
It looks like it was only one potential leader that was there, and that was Esambay Fall. I mean, you heard what Marisok said, and then there are other people insinuating that this whole thing, it's about trying to prop up Esa for him to become the coalition leader. I mean, I don't even know how that is possible. I mean, for me, I think it's a very unfair, but I just want to make at least give you an opportunity to respond to that. This whole it's about
just to clarify, because I'm going to Maila is a public relations director.
Yes.
But he's engaged in an event in Gambia. And then Keba is in Freetown. Because Jabaram, they had some event they had to attend down there.
Right.
Baibiran Jain is with this DOI event, the conference that they have.
Right.
So because the 3 of them were at the event. In our meeting yesterday, they highlighted what happened, and in a nutshell, Esambay Fall was not the only person who was there. Dr. Gajigo
was there.
Has submitted. He has paid his money and submitted his application for his political party.
Yes.
Wahna, Lamin J Dabo of NUP, we all know. Mungfawan, Wahna.
Absolutely.
So Esambay Fall, but so that goes to nullify the claim that Esambay Fall Momlanding the prop up to be the potential candidate. So anyway, that answers your question. What other question do you have?
Yeah. So I'm sure that because of lack of time, we still have Nanko.
Yes.
You are dealing with another issue, and then obviously we're still going to talk about the year in review. I mean, you can really hang on, and maybe you may have, we want to talk about the constitution that was rejected. We want to talk about quickly the Auditor General removal. There are some other issues. Sanamanjang arrested, and so those are some of the issues that we want to look at. But before that, we want to talk to my main man Nanko here. Because something came up.
Musa, hold on. I have a question for Saul.
Sorry, my brother.
Yes. So I listen to you very carefully, and I don't really think you answer Musa's question. You mentioned people's name, that those people are in attendance, but the gist and you've seen people who took swipe at folks who put this whole meeting together. And my question to you, you mentioned in your early statement, there are representatives, number of people, there are certain people you want to attend. How do you guys came to a conclusion or consensus in determining that when in your earlier statement, you said this is non-partisan, none of you guys are aligned with a political party, and you guys have a formula or some type of agenda or goal that you wanted to achieve. But if you're saying, you reach out to these, they didn't show up, why? Why do you think they didn't show up? And what is the underlying principle there? Because obviously, perception is reality. If your first goal was to bring people in the house, and majority of them did not show up, so Kumo Koindisai, let's have a conversation. Why? Please.
I think you can pick up. Because I answered Musa's question, but I will clarify the concern that you have, which is okay, that's fine. We did not create any formula. I'm telling you this. Musa, get on the email from me about the invitation to attend the conference.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, Kohamne, Disney aligned with us. Kebananko, the PPP, we sent them an invitation to attend the event. Not necessarily you, but we sent the email. I don't know if you can confirm that or not. We emailed Sariang to the extent possible. There are local radio stations in the country, all around the country. You have sent invitation. So to your point about the political parties, yes, we sent an invitation to any political party Bohamne is aligned with what we want. Should we send an invitation to NPP and APRC? Absolutely not. Ahmed Ba, no. My party, no. We did not invite those people. But Bohamne aligned with what we want. If you go to our website, you'll see the list of all the political parties that we invited. So there was no formula to say invite this person or not. If we suspect that you're aligned with our goals and our aims and objectives based on the mission and vision I wrote, you have been invited. And you know how we did that, Sariang? We paid $28,000 to a courier in Gambia to go and hand deliver letters of invitation to people who signed off on receiving those letters. So that is settled. Nobody can claim that they have not been issued an invitation. So, Lolu, answer us a question.
No. So I'm not gonna leave you off the hook there. So hold on. I think here is my little concern that I have. I mean, you send a courier, that person delivered the letter. Did your team do a follow-up to get an assurance from these folks that at least they hold on, they haven't they received the letter? Yes, we received the letter. Do you guys understand the content of the letter? Do you guys have any questions? Was that done?
I mean, asking people if they understand the content of the letter maybe a little bit of an insult because people.
No, it's not an insult. You want to reaffirm your objective that hey, did you guys have the letter? But if you send a courier and the courier hand delivered, maybe someone just put it in their pile and never read it. And maybe that's why the turnout was what it is supposed to be. I'm just asking. It's not. But hey, do you guys read it? Do you guys have any questions for me? Us?
I think what we would ask would have been, do you have any questions for us about the invitation? And obviously, at the bottom of the letter, it says, if you have any questions or concerns about the invitation, reach out to us. So the answer to your question about whether people really received those letters, but the big players, those big players that we are talking about here, they will eventually come to confirm what your concern is, that they have been notified that the communication has been going on since July when we were in Gambia about the intent. So those people will answer that question in due time, because they will come and tell us, yes, Keba has been to our location several times, and there were letters that were delivered that we didn't get, but we eventually got those invitations. So the notion that we invited all these people and they didn't show up. I mean, the political parties that were invited, the vast majority of them came. And we had other organizations such as the fishing associations. They came. CSO groups came. We invited Gala, but you saw that young man, Kemo Fati, he spoke. So many people came, but the 73 people who were at the conference where we had the meeting, they all came because they received the letters. So the people who did not come, I can't be here to tell you that somehow they didn't come because they didn't receive the letters, because we made the follow-up like you just asked, Musa Saria. There were numerous follow-ups to make sure people knew that they got the letter. I just told you, Bibi Dabo confirmed that they received it. But I mean, I am sure in due time he'll explain the reason why they didn't make it. But does that mean that they didn't get the letter? Yes. Emails were sent to UDP. Emails were sent to DOI. The letters were hand-delivered with all of these two major parties. The same was with Esambay Fao, NUP's LJ Dabo, Dr. Gajigo, and all of these ones that came to the event.
All right, man, Paramos.
Yeah.
I think your consultancy in terms of political strategy retooling would be needed to help them get the message. I think
No, but
the outreach. I think their hearts in the right place, but I really think the approach needs to be fine-tuned a little bit, because I've seen some gaps that needs to be fine-tuned a little bit in terms of outreach and stuff.
this is what I believe. And when they first had their meeting in Atlanta, Saul was there and he heard exactly what I said. And do I believe their heart is in the right place? Yes. Do I believe that they are setting up a particular candidate to be the leader? Absolutely not. That's not what these people are doing. These people, their main goal when everything is said and done is for all the parties to come together under one umbrella, because they believe that's the only way Barrow can be defeated. So for them, it really doesn't matter who the leader is. Man, I know that because I know these people. Now, do they have perception problem? Huge. And sometimes it's unfair, but that's what life is. There are some missteps that they have done in the past in terms of utterances that did not help. It did not. I still do not believe an outside group will be able to bring all these political parties together. I think they're going to have problems. It's going to be a challenge. 2016, Binowa, in as much as we lean on them, it wasn't us, really. 2006, we were the facilitator, but it's going to take the big boys to have a buy-in. If they don't have a buy-in, it ain't going to happen. We all know what the UDP position is. But we all know what their position is. And they have legitimate reason to say, if we done A, B, C, D, not only we're the largest party, but just the past election, we have 250,000 votes. So we don't allow Sarian Marong pour lead new. I mean, that's their position. Unless and until you go past that, I'm telling you, go them fee. And some people are saying, you know what? We've seen this movie before, and we're not going to allow you guys to impose your will on us. So they have their work cut out. But again, it ain't going to be easy. There are other coalition people. I mean, Khalifa today, supposedly, he's going to roll out what he calls Team Gambia at their Congress, the DOI Congress. And we're going to see what the details are. But that is what it's going to take. Or UDP, Solsi and Dalla, decide to reach out to some of these parties and say, hey, let's sit down. Unless and until they're the ones calling it, I think, no disrespect to Nyom Sol, they're going to have problems. Be like,
Musa Jeng, Bala small brother bin Danko di wax. You know, I just mentioned to you Aferi JFK, and I said that for a reason. Skepticism is good, because what that does to me and the group that is working on this is to prove people wrong. And when we do, every Gambian is going to be happy by saying, so it's good. People are skeptical, okay? But 2024, the whole Atlanta, the whole Gambia, so let's keep going with your perception, Aksariang and everybody else. Because I'll tell you what, Musa, if everybody says, Saul, whatever you guys are doing, we are behind it 100%, we will fail. Do you understand me? So if you're going to talk Banjul Yakarne, coalition Bini Dal Monyo Yogu Funyo Yogu, Nangum Sugai Lenyodef, can you criticize Dara? This is why Adama Barrow is failing, because the people surrounding him completely believe in what he's doing. Nobody is questioning what he's doing, and he's failing. So, yes, question what we're doing, criticize us, and we have to come and defend the reason why we're doing things the way we're doing them. And just like Obama said, if you put a decision or an idea on the table, Sariang or whoever it is,
right.
Even if Adam Bolo put an idea on the table that we feel is going to benefit us, we're going to take it and run with it. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, Saul. And good luck, Bilai. Sunye ewo suba Sariang am sone bu julli fajar dina len ñaanal, because your success is our success, and I'm not trying to be funny. Because if you guys can pull it together, because for me, defeating Adama Barrow is not like trying to replace him, and I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
To replace Barrow? No, I ain't interested in that. I think replacing Barrow is good to consolidate our democracy. As far as I'm concerned, that is what I really believe in. If the election results are announced and then we have a new leader, Nemo defeat Adama Barrow, I think Gambians should celebrate, because our democracy will be consolidated and we will be heading a different direction. But
so, Musa Balama by Nankudinho, I like to what's next.
Yes.
What's next is we will reconvene and we're going to start, because this is the agreement, that we're going to start working on the framework of how we move from here on. There will be other conferences, there will be other meetings that are going to come. And subsequently, you will begin to see the framework of what we're trying to achieve.
Okay.
And we hope Gambians will begin to recognize what is happening moving forward. So in the next few months,
and I'm so as a piece of advice, man, someone looking afar, lessons learned, look at the feedback and make sure you guys get some people. I mean, I know Tuklor was part of, I don't know what her active role was now and her active role is right now, but lessons learned. And craft that from your strategy moving forward. I think there's a lot of feedback, especially social media. It's not sort of a criticism, but there are perception out there who really think you guys have the bad messengers out there. So how do you dispel that notion and recalibrate and communicate?
Musa, there's not a political party in Gambia that does not have bad perception.
No. I'm telling you, yeah. And that's a problem. That's why you've seen them facing a headway. So, and you can be in self-denial all you want, but I'm just letting you know, even that's true. That's absolutely true. But how do you refine that?
The statement that I am in self-denial is not a fair statement.
No. I am not saying particularly you. What I'm trying to say, you said there is not a single political party. I am saying that's true. And people are in denial. That's true. I'm not going to disagree with that. But how you redefine and readjust, that's when you gain more majority. And that's when your action becomes consequential. And you will ultimately achieve your goal. If you're not doing that, you're pushing people away. That's all I'm saying. So
the point I was trying to raise, Sariang, is telling you that to think that people are not cognizant of the fact that there's a perception out there would be the wrong thing to say, because it helps us fine-tune ourselves. And I mentioned the fact that everybody who wants to engage in politics even Gala, you nga xamne ñu ñoo fightal suñu xaalis bi nga xamne it's stolen.
Yeah.
People have a bad perception against
Yeah,
Gala.
definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Definitely.
yes,
Definitely.
perception is a good tool if you use it the right way to fine tune and improve yourself, because people are going to say, okay, they're going to see what that's what I want to say.
No, so,
Hey, so nothing but love, man. Love for you
anyways,
and your pursuit in your goals. Well, I'm just letting you know. I have a very low political antenna. A Baribunka guy just give you what is out there, man. So that's all it is, brother.
you don't. 'Cause I know. I mean, look, I know the players. Anybody, Myla went during the 90s. He was Myla has relationships with these politicians going all the way back in 2000 and before 2006. He was actually the liaison officer during the NAT initiative, talking to all these parties. The guy is very good at that. Keba Foon, I mean, he has visited Alaji Usainu Dabo numerous times. Same thing with Halifa Saleh. Keba is like that. Sometimes Ninganko dekalo fum dekot. If you're in the public arena, you are going to make utterances, you will misspeak. We all do that sometimes. And he has this perception problem that is very, very, very unfair. I know these people. You understand? I mean, I know where their heart is and what they're trying to do. Even though I believe it's going to be very difficult. Because forming coalition more different.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And it's difficult. More than so it's not an easy thing. So for starters, that is even the problem itself. And then, of course, you have the political joking and people create perceptions. Because for real, I mean, they're not really interested in what you guys are doing. Because when everything is said and done, they want it to go a certain way. And this is not NPP or UDP or the Unite movement. Nothing like that. I'm just saying, I mean, this is politics. Kusineka. There's something that you want from it. I mean, so easy one. We all fall in line on the UDP. They have 250,000 votes. We bring our votes together. Bang. It's game over. Easy would know. Anyway, we're going to move to Brother Nanko. Thank you very much, Saul. We appreciate you, man. I know that it was Myla or Keba that was supposed to show up. You decided that, you will at least come and set light on. And we thank you. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you. So you believe it on Lolu. We wouldn't be putting $300,000 of our money to fund this event that took place last week. So that's the belief. Nobody, Ben Gambian, Kenarek, more donate. But we didn't ask anybody to chip in anything. We put our own money in there. So we know what we are up against and what we're trying to do. And we believe in it wholeheartedly.
You didn't answer my question, but Tukulorsi answered my question about why she left the group.
Tukulorsi has not left the group. She's still there. Her name is still in our group.
I guess I can put that down as self-denial too, so it's all right.
Amen. Thanks. So, Brother Nanko, I mean, I saw your rebuttal. Actually, we reached out to you. I reached out to you this morning.
Yep.
When I read, your pushback at what I would call the narrative that's been peddled by the information minister for quite a while.
That's right.
And a lot of the basically downplaying the accomplishment during the First Republic. There are a lot of young people that were either born in the 70s or the 80s. So they absolutely have no idea how this country, Gambia, came about. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an old man, but I've witnessed stuff. I went to primary school because of the former regime. I went to high school because of the former regime. I became whatever you want to call me because of the foundation that the former regime provided, and that is the Jawara era. Those were different times. They had different challenges. But you know what? I'm not going to speak for you. You've heard what Dr. Sise said. And I want to say kudos to Nyaur. Nyaur has become one person, really, that I always shake my head agreeing with him. Anytime I watch that show, Sunyu Reumi, Nyaur, I'm telling you, the guy he's a straight shooter. He's very passionate and he's very effective. That much I have. Anytime I listen to Nyaur Komar, I'm like, man, no, Nyaur. I really like where you're going with this. Really. And I think that should be a compliment to the United Democratic Party for having someone like Nyaur. But anyway, Brother Nanko, so what are you saying? I saw you talk about institutional development and that you want the current government to tell us what institutions have they actually created. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Musa. I'm very happy today. You know that, this is going to be your last program, and then we are in 2026.
Exactly.
We take it with pride that we are here. Sariang, I greet you too as well, and all the listeners. I follow this, this program all the time, and then you guys are doing a great job when you come to enlighten Gambians. So, it is quite unfortunate. Like, if you look at me, I'm too young to understand these issues, right? And I can say, as many young people have been, I believe, Jammeh, whatever he's saying before, right? To an extent that, I don't, whatever he said about PEP, I would say the same thing. But for some reasons, I would say I was passionate about OJ's politics. And I started engaging OJ. We talk all the time, and he's a good friend with my dad. And then, as for me, out of curiosity, OJ told me you have to read, and then I start going online. I buy Bagarai's book and other books that are very interesting books. And any book that I see is about Gambia, I buy them, I read them. It's not that I was present to understand these issues. Because of I don't want to be like any other young people who doesn't care. They just they may talk about rampant corruption. We all believe PEP was not here. I remember there's a time I used to watch that program called Bantaba. That program used to lead by Sidin Jai. The college Sidin Jai used to be there. And I remember what I said there. I can see it was in Janjambure when they are working on that program to make Yajame a king. Right. And I hear that these people are saying that Gambia in fact had their independence in 1994. So there are a lot of things that have been said. Right. But again, I also go to school, I learn and all those things. So I say, okay, now I start reading to understand what is the perspective. So I understand there are two things here. When you talk about nation building, there's an institutional building, and there are also physical structures you can look at. And those physical structures are in fact built by institutions. Correct. Because that's the most important thing. And then we cannot forget and erase that completely, in our system. And I also make research, and then you can see OJ make a list. I was talking to OJ to have this list because I want to be empowered to understand knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Whatever you put in. So I am not in PPP because of anything. My father has not been a minister. My father never worked for government, right? I just believe in the PPP and the legacy. I believe in their ideology, and I believe in their philosophy. And whatever you do for Gambia, I believe in it. But I'm not there to gain anything or anything else. But it's the party that I believe in, and then for very good reasons, as I mentioned. But before I go further, I want to greet our current party leader, Usman Madike Fall. We are all seeing what we are doing as a party. But what you understand, the best thing we should do, we need to reorganize ourselves. We need to restructure the PPP because we need to be present in the grassroots. And then that's why under his leadership, he advocated. That's why everybody should have a party leader from America, because he looked at the party. We have to look at our and then reflect on the party where we are right now, and we understand that most of our biggest challenge was structural issue. We are not present within the grassroots. And what do we do? Based on our constitution, you don't appoint regional representatives. As per 1959, this is constitution, 1959 constitution. They have to go through congresses. That's what we are going to do right now. We are raising funds, and then we did congress in Brikama, West Coast. We elected our leaders. We do congress in CRR and then in Basse. So now I can see when people wear our t-shirt, young people wear our t-shirt in the car, you have Jawara's t-shirt on it. And that's this is Jawara, and they will give us this t-shirt. Some people are forced to give them Jawara's t-shirt to them. So we understood there was some disconnect. So coming down to the issue we are addressing right now, Jammeh's government, APRC. Okay, I have back and forth with one of the APRC members in one of the WhatsApp forum. I just told them, give me 10 institutions you guys build, just 10 institutions, and I did that. And then the guy started messaging me, trying to tell me one thing you talk about Gambia Supreme Islamic Council. It's not, I said, the guy just trying to give me incidents that never existed. Because so it was in fact established in 1992. I also told them, can you give me 5 health centers you established in the Gambia? 5 health centers. Because there are a few things that Yadame will tell people, and we believe it. If you go to Biam Hospital, they talk about Biam Hospital. We all know what hospitals are. But Biam Health Center was there. He went and built 2 or 3 story building there and says a health center. And he talked about Jammeh Foundation for Hospital in Bundung. That's a Bundung Health Center. He just made a story building that says it's a hospital. Serakunda Hospital. And then you got a Farafay. All these structures were there. All what they did was to build structures there because all what they did is to mislead people, right? So PPP as a political party, not we are in a competition with all these people, but it's quite dishonesty for people to go out there and tell people that Gambia, in fact, all the people who were there to build these institutions, that today they are able to do a massive development. And give credit to President Barrow and MPP, right? I believe that what they are doing, agree or disagree, I mean, they are open up Gambia. And that is something that we as every government should appreciate. But go and extend to delegitimize PPP or any other, even APRC, it is quite very unfair. It's very unfair. So, I mean, there is no road. The Haklan road they talk about, that road is called Bunyadu Road.
There was a road there. Yes.
It wasn't called Hakaram Road. It was called Bunyadu. That road had been, it was all made by, if you want to know about PPP, if you read this book, maybe people don't know about this book, right? This is the PPP history is here. All the roads they are mentioning, you can have this, if anybody have this book, and that's why we are trying to look for a way to reproduce this book to Gambian people, right? But people need to know the story about where we started. And I talk about, they will also talk about a few things. For example, we don't build, let's say, high schools in the Gambia. And I look at it. In the time before 1965, there's only 4 high schools in the Gambia. Hermitage. We say Gambia High was a Methodist High.
West High School.
High, that makes I think we have St. Augustine.
Right.
Other schools. And then now coming to what Dr. Messia was saying, they asked which school did you guys build? And he said, no, we have this foundation, Holland Foundation was building structures for them in schools. All right, now PPP, as we said, we all understand that, but at the independence, the debt at the time was £5.3 million. People we took, and if you look at it, if you go to, and people don't understand, if you go to Dakar, the way Dakar looked like, it's not that the Dakar, it was them. It's the French that built Dakar that way.
Right.
If you go to Gambia, right, when the British left, Banjul, there's no drainage system. They were using Potikama.
Yes, very true.
These are facts.
This is not ancient history,
People this is something that I learn about. There's no look at the entire Banjul, and I heard that in fact there was a time there was a cholera outbreak. People died. Of the Potikama system. The government had to focus on to make sure there's a drainage system in there. You know how much money that cost for Gambia to make sure Banjul have a complete drainage system. That's what the British left there. So, and then we can also come down to look at let's say they talk about high schools now. Let's say I don't want to count those high schools, but now any other high schools, what did PP do is to lobby and engage Hamadia. When Hamadia came to Gambia in those days, there are a lot of noises.
Yes.
Because, even today, those noises are still happening. What did Hamadia do when they came? They complement government effort. There's a Hamadia hospital. There's Nusrat. Today, Nusrat produce best students in the Gambia today. Tahir Hamadia, we have Masa Konko. We also have URL. They build schools there. St. Peter's came. They built St. Peter's in this place. We have Bottrop over there. I can name schools that were in fact not by government, but through government collaboration with other people.
With other institutions.
So they can come and talk about any other thing they want to talk about. But the thing is government is a continuous process.
It is.
What I mean, okay, they are talking now. They're not talking about rural electrification project that they're talking about right now. I mean, if you all know about what is Gambia River Basin, do you not know about that?
Yeah.
OMVG.
Yes, that was the original idea. Was people
it was bringing Senghor and then Sadauda. In fact, it was in fact signed. I think they say somewhere in Senegal. That's where they even signed the agreement. They expanded, bring Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, and other people there.
OMVG growing up.
when Barrow launched the OMVG in Jarasoma, we have the Macky Sall came and other people that launch it. And when I look at the statement he read there, he couldn't even mention a word about SADC or PPP.
Yeah.
That's what is going on today. But it's continue the project. Barrow come and then today,
I mean, that's what government is all about.
Government is all about.
Yes.
And then Gambia University. Today, Barrow can say he built the university. Did he build the university?
No, he did not.
And then we talk about Gambia University setup. Because yes, we understand one thing. I asked all the university students, which schools did you attend before Faraba? Physical structure.
Yes.
Gambia High School. Sorry, Gambia College.
Right.
That's where they go to. MDI. That's where they go to.
Yes.
EDI, that's where they go to. Before that, Gambia have School of Education at Gambia College. Gambia have School of Nursing. That's why we provide SEN, SRN, CHN.
Yes.
Right? Gambia have a School of Agriculture. That's why, and then they go through NARI, National Agricultural Research Institute.
Correct.
Gambia, we have veterinary system in the Gambia. The people go and study animal health and production. We have the central abattoir. That's why we have Abuko. That's why they used to do that in Abuko. These are also facts. So for me, those schools are there because we understand. So when the Yademe came, all what you could do at the time, you just passed the legislature, law, right? And establish the University of the Gambia. But there's a higher education bill that established the Gambia College in 1975.
Right.
So these are the issues. That's why I came in. So because of just like me and any other young people, we can face these challenges. But again, and as I said, we don't want to. As for us for PVP, we don't want to talk about the past alone. We want to tell people what we can do differently. Because if I look at what we can do in the future, right? These are just something that sometimes is good to clear because there's a lot of misinformation there. But
so I just want to kind of add to this because I'm older than you.
Yes.
Okay. And there are things that I've witnessed. Like I said, this is not ancient history. I mean, growing up in Kaur, and I'm talking about very early 70s, we had our independence in 65. Okay. I don't know much about that, but in the early 70s, this is what I know. From Kaur to Kuntaur or from Kaur to Farafenye, yon amutonde, alalawonde. So this whole idea, when Jawara came, he inherited all these roads going from Farafenye to Lamin Koto. It's not true. Or from Soma to Basse, it's not true. Most of Yoni alalawon. There was this company that came and they used to call it Wimpy. Wimpey. Wimpy. Nyom build those roads. Now, you could say it wasn't tar, but you're talking about
in those days they used cockle cells. That was invented. Yeah.
They created this Wimpy. It was this red thing. I mean,
gravel.
But at least it was an improvement from not having a road and creating a road. You have to understand that. What they also inherited, primary school education, but one day all over the country there. Very few. Most of these villages didn't have primary school. There were a lot of people that used to trek all the way to Maine, let's say Georgetown or Kaur, in order to go to primary school. It took the Jawara government to go to every village to make sure that people have access to primary level education, because that's the start. So what you cannot do is to come and delegitimize. Exactly. I think it's dishonest. You can say development is a continuation.
Thank you.
You come, then you do your part. But I'm not going more build the foundation, and that should be respected. But it's very easy. Now, Barrow, let's say Barrow get defeated in 2026. Another government is going to come. And they're going to do things. They're going to talk about this. They're going to talk about that. As if Barrow hasn't done a thing. And that would not be fair to the Barrow administration either.
Exactly.
Because they've done a lot. You talked about Yahya Jammeh. The man is evil. There is nothing that this man does that I can even begin. But there are a lot of things that he has done.
Exactly.
We talked about Jinek. It was Jammeh that bridged it. Bridging that Kerawan, it makes from SL to Farafenye a much easier ride.
No, even Janjambure.
Understand? So there are a lot of things that Jammeh has done. The reason why television news Senegalese TV and there was no Gambian TV. It was Jammeh that did it. Now, PPP can say, well, I'm on a film unit, we did this. At the preliminary stages, it was Jammeh that came and put it together. The university, like you said, there was MTI, there was School of Public Health, there was School of Nursing, where Jammeh did more, using very bold, and sometimes the PPP can be also accused of lack of that boldness to make some of these moves. Jammeh was able to do that. But it doesn't mean the PPP hasn't done anything. That would be absolutely dishonest. And the list goes on and goes on. Access to healthcare. There were always this, whether it's in Kaur or some of these places, there were medical facilities. I still remember going to Kaur Primary School. They write your name, and then take it to the dispensary. Get them for full in, either you ink be or they give you injections and things like that. Was there access to primary care? Yes, there was. Was it a lot? No. Do they have their challenges? Absolutely. But that's what development is all about.
That's
so to Dr. Cisse or anybody else, you can sell your agenda, but there's no need to kind of as if they haven't done a thing. I think that is dishonest. There was a lot of things that this PPP government has done. That is the reason why somebody like your Sariang, you went to school in the. I'll let you tell your story. And that was during the PPP era, and you ended up at St. Augustine. Someone did that. Someone gave you the preparation. My older brothers, this was during the during the colonial rule. They didn't go to school. And that must have handicapped them in one way or another. So again, call PPP whatever you want to call them. They made their mistakes, yes. But look at what they were dealing with. The reality of being a country of 300,000 people. You don't have to go back and look at the cabinet. Most of them did not even have postgraduate education. Really?
No, it's like it's like there are challenges too. Like in those days, I was talking to one person. I think I shared a video. People don't want to take their kids to school. That alone was a problem. They don't want to believe in Western education until Sadara will have to pass a bill, right, or a policy to force every family household to send at least one kid to school, because they don't believe it. They think this is going to be Western education. And again, in those days we have so many prominent people who turn to be Christians and they are Muslims. So all those were factors contributing to all those are challenges for the PPP. But if you look at our education system, compare what we have today. We have a lot of education. Today we have PhD. You can talk about all those things. But look at our ministers then, the education they have, what they are able to achieve, and today the education we have. What do we have? These are something you look at. And again, when you talk about how much money can they collect, because Gambia is a tax-based country, a population of 300,000, how much money can we collect from poor people? A whole lot. And then do a development with that.
Definitely.
How much money are they collecting today? And then you can compare these things. And if you want to do infrastructure, how many machineries they can use today to do a road within a month, and in those days it will take you a year.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, right. Yeah, so these are so many things people need to understand. So, but again, kudos to Yahya Jammeh, kudos to President Barrow. For me, just to be fair, they are all doing something for the nation. And again, as far as Gambia did not fail, as far as Yahya Jammeh is part of Gambia as a president, as far as Barrow is part of Gambia as a president, as far as anybody is part of Gambia, we as PPP is where the pride is. Because you know why? Because when we take that boldness to say we're going for independence, it's not a failed state.
Exactly.
But it does not fail with serious challenges. That tells you the foundation was strong. Then PPP still is a legacy as far as Gambia exists, did not in any way fade away. It's not a failed state, which all the media, New York Times, London Times, and big politicians said this country will fail because of the human resource, even the human resources at the time. As we say, one person that I know for sure doesn't even go to school at all was Ba'alaya Cisse. People don't go to school; they take them home, train them, learn English, write English, and make them ministers.
Exactly. In Keba Nyama Lee. There were a lot of
them because we don't have the human
education, high school education. Really, most of them.
What degree would OJ have? What degree even eventually they will get themselves? But what degree at the time? All these people I can mention, what degree they have apart from Sadara in the cabinet? Just tell me.
And Bibi Dabo.
What do they have as a degree?
Yes. No.
Name all our ministers who has a degree. Now we have. One thing I said it for me. But let me allow Sarian to come. Maybe you want to say something. But again, because I can go on, and I think it's a 3-way conversation. Thank you, Musa.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Again, I'm sure your experience, like I said, you're Panga. I mean,
Musa, don't make me like, you sound like, I was going to say for a minute, you sound like I'm older than you, man. I cannot accept that in good faith.
I'm not
You know what? Musa is sounding like on the platform I'm older than him. I said, no.
I think Coach is older than all of you, Coach. or maybe Banker, I don't know.
No. I think yes, you guys, your analysis is very fair, and definitely we have to give credit where it's due. I mean, we all remember Jawara, time. As I said, I think last week we were even talking about this. I said, it's different now. Even political parties, community building. I spend my time in South, during Good Fridays and all that, and majority of my friends were Christians. I mean, I drink Nanbur and some of these folks. I was even talking to Jenab. I said, James Senegal, where Musa you live, and Dr. Lamin Bai's dad. I mean, I remember back in the days when we get out school and say, we are IRK, because everyone kind of says IRK double period. That's it. We're going to tobacco. So we went down, and I remember Lamin Bai's dad. Every time we go to their house, he's sitting right in the middle, reading Quran, and her mom will force us. I mean, he says, you're traveling, you take a bus all the way to Brikama, and you have to wait for lunch. They will give you lunch, and they will force you to eat. And I say, today, when we start talking, we don't see each other as brothers and sisters. All we see is we talk about tribe, who is affiliated with who, and this is missing. And for Jawara, there was particular time when we call, Gambia the smiling coast of Africa, and the silver jubilee, whereby people, George Bush, I remember George Bush. H. Walker Bush came to Gambia when he was very, very young, before entering into politics. Queen Elizabeth, all these people, when they came out there, it's for a reason. They said champion of democracy. He was sent out wherever it's difficult, wherever there is some type of mitigation, he needs to lead that. And you hear this. DK Sabaru DK, so that is his drum there. So there is something, and also Musa, the high school system that you guys alluded to. Exactly. You go in there, you pass the common entrance. If you can't, you repeat it until you have the pass mark, and you go down there. And then I think during that time too, as Nanko said, the educational system was great. I mean, yes. You get the opportunity to go, to high school, and you endeavor to get a pass. It becomes a competition and everything else. But you just cannot say, okay, this man, what he did and that, because I'm telling you, if we're gonna count the institutions, Saul said it here. When I first came here, you pick up the phone, you pay, you have your house line, you call your folks back in Gambia anytime you dial. I remember even that time, Senegal has an issue going through, but whenever you hit Gambia, you go directly. I mean, because Gamtel was on the move. I mean, Bakarinja was...
South Africa, in the whole of Africa.
Yes, Bakarinja had this thing. He was the best. I mean, but now when they inherited those institutions today, they failed. So you have to look at things. You just don't cannot, as you say, Musa, you say you cannot downplay. And I think one thing that I agree with Doc, I mean, when he talked, he says, when they were building, especially Jammeh, he says 22 years of Jammeh, he did not think about the energy sector. Absolutely. The population was growing.
Absolutely.
And he was relying on generators. He was not innovative in terms of thinking outside the box. The population grows, the demand grows. He didn't think about it. He was relying. But yeah,
when I even come in there, the energy sector that they're talking about, this rural electrification they're talking about. Tell me the history. Where is it from?
No, it started from Jawara. Obviously, that's true.
When I look at when they discuss this thing, it's a vision. So let's say if you are building a country, you don't say I'm going to build this country in next 5 years, my time. No. So Jawara has a vision. In fact, I played the video when he went to France, where we want to build dams. So that's why, in fact, they named Gambia River Basin, and he went to negotiate the Trans-Gambia Bridge that they built there. And let's just be honest. So it's a vision that he has. And what they said in those days, they said this vision, OMVG, will be successful in 2030.
Yeah.
It's in the agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Where were you today? Did Jawara actually believe he's going to live 2030, he'll be alive? Think about that. But it's a vision. What we are doing today, because it's not going to be successful today. It's a vision that will be successful.
Nyanko is very passionate about PPP de Musa. Nyanko, a big politician.
So whatever. I mean, this guy is talking about, Dr. Sise is talking about, what is their vision? Or whatever they are, if that is the case, you want to make an argument to people, then the vision of Jawara, that's what Gambians are enjoying today. Now, put that aside. The economic soldiers.
Yes.
It's a vision of Sir Dawda.
Definitely.
It was a peace summit in Banjul. Yes. He was then the chairman of ECOWAS at that time. He told them, there's a Liberia war. He told them, I think it's now time for us to have our own West African soldiers. And then the economic was established under his chairmanship. That we as soldiers, we can put our resources together. In that, the first time, Nigeria, Ghana, they provide more soldiers than any other country. Everybody, that's why they went and learn about, that's why they do that training to go to Liberia. A few decades later, ECOMIG today, in 2016, without ECOMIG, where is Gambia? Where is Gambia? Do you actually believe that our soldiers will take your Gambia?
But Nango, here's what I'm going to ask you, though. I know you telegraph all the great things about Sir Dawda, and his legacy cannot just be, just on the rug. But what would you have acknowledged as a failure during the 30 years of his regime? I mean, obviously, he had a lot of hallmark and accomplished a lot. But what are some of the things that you would think today and say, if I hadn't been, I was within, or, I had a voice, we would have done things differently, slightly differently. What would be that?
I think one of the things I believe, if he had done, would have been very better for me. In those days, we all know time limit was not famous, right? But when he made the decision that he was going to retire, and I think that was a turning point, and I think that would have been a good moment. And I think when that happened, I mean, nobody knows, because in those days, coups are very prominent in Africa. Coup could have happened or not, but I believe that would have been an opportunity that we don't find ourselves in the situation that we are today. To have be successful in coup. I believe that was a turning moment if you could do that. But he himself has mentioned that. He actually have the he want to do it. But again, that's too much pressure. When I see there are forces who want to go to Halifa Sallah. This is what Gambians are. Don't go and contest again, right? This is what they do, right? And then and in African culture, let's say Sarian said, I'm not going to do this thing. Your imam calls you, your mom calls you, your dad calls you, whatever you have in your mind, that issue may not be, you may not go ahead because of, hey, my dad talked to me or my mom talked to me. It is now culture. In the West, when they say they're not going to do anything, nobody even talk to you. It's a decision that you make. So those are the things, and I also believe there are also institutions that actually fail on our time. The National Trading Corporation, the NTC, and all those things, right? Most of these happen due to corruption. Every government has corruption issues, right? So I believe that I can go on and on, but there are a lot of things that I know they could have done differently. And then maybe those institutions would not have failed as well. Also the Gambia Commercial Bank, right, and all those things, right. So we have our deficiencies, and this is what you call honest politics. You don't just say, PP is not a perfect government. As any government, you're gonna have some issues, right? But if you look at the achievement in total, you want to weigh those things, you can understand PPP put Gambia in a very good footing. The Jahali Pachal Rice Project.
Let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to judge Sadauda,
Mm-hmm.
history is kind of funny.
Yes.
Because you have to judge him based on the time that he lived in. Not
Exactly.
if you were to take Sadauda now,
Mm-hmm.
the person he is in terms of intellect, the terms of his temperament,
Mm-hmm.
then he becomes the president of the Gambia for today.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a leader are we looking at? And the
Right.
only way you can judge that is by going back
Mm-hmm.
during his time.
Mm-hmm.
He inherited what they would call, let's say, even the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Gambia was all about departments.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't no Gamtel. There
No.
wasn't state-owned enterprises, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
These were all government departments.
Mm-hmm.
And Sadauda's thinking one day, you know what? For service delivery, to make these things much more efficient, maybe we need to kind of remove it away from government and still make them public enterprises. I mean, it was a radical way of thinking because at that time, everything has to be under government, the civil service.
Yes, yes.
So that tells you that same man with that radical way of thinking, if he were the president of our times, his approach would be the same in terms of radicalization. This is what is
Exactly, yeah.
not working. I mean, that's who this man was. During the first election for Gambia to become a republic, when it was voted down, I mean, most of his people that surrounded him were telling him, "Money, let's become a republic, whether they like it or not, irrespective of what the votes were." And Sadauda was like, "We cannot do that." The people have spoken, and we didn't have the majority. At that time, I think it was 60% of the votes. I mean, even though PPP, there were more people voting for republic, but they didn't have the absolute majority for it to pass. And people were urging him, even in the cabinet, to hell with it. Let's still become a republic. Sadauda said no, because his belief in democracy. He believed, you know what, we have to do the right way. That same person, I can guarantee you, again, the point that I'm trying to make, if you are going to judge a politician of yesteryear, I mean, I think you have to remove and look at what he was dealing with.
At the time, yes.
The people, our realities at that time. That's how you can judge him to say whether did he perform or not.
Yes.
Not like where we are today, when there's a cell phone. I can sit here and call my sister in Kaur. It wasn't like that.
No, nowhere.
So these are different times, and if you judge the man, judge him fairly. Like you said, did he have failures? Yes, of course.
No, it's
why Jammeh was able to talk about accountability, probity, and corruption. Some of it was lies.
Big lies, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That people believe in. Could he have done more in terms of building high schools? Absolutely. I think Jammeh capitalized on his shortcomings. There was a reason why we had Kaur Junior Secondary. It wouldn't have taken much to change it to a high school. It was Sadauda that brought it there. Kaur Junior Secondary and all these technical schools, Latir Kunda, Crab Island. He could have easily, you know what I mean? So you would question maybe his boldness, but they were very methodical.
There is something, methodical in the sense and that method there are qualities involved in it. Not that, okay.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
You don't want to just create a high school, and that's what Jammeh did. Jammeh went and created Kaur High School.
Let me just say one thing. Let's just say what happened.
Today, they're not as competitive as some of these other high schools because they don't really have quality teachers and things like that.
Musa, if you look at in those days, when they established, they went rampant to go and build schools all over the country.
Right.
And there were no teachers.
Yes.
In those schools.
They were not.
What did they do? They went to Nigeria, Ghana, bring people to the Gambia to teach, and they couldn't even vet their credentials.
Yes.
Because in Gambia, we don't have teachers. But what the PP was doing, we create schools when we have the human resources.
Absolutely.
We can go to high school. Our qualified teachers done. Today, go and meet the qualified teachers. The people they say they are qualified teachers. You cannot compare those teachers with the FESADO, with PPP, PTA or HTC teachers. So what they did was they built schools, and there were no teachers. So what they did, they have to go to Nigeria. That's why we have a lot of Nigerian teachers, a lot of Ghanaian teachers there. And people will always say, No, they come and teach our people. We don't even know their credentials. And many people talk about, oh, they have false certificates. If you will talk about that in those days, right? So this is what happened. So now our education system crumbles. We have people who went to high schools, they graduated. We see the results that is coming out, and then we have a common entrance system, and then they undo everything. They said no, let's build a lot of schools. They build schools, then we have challenges now. Gambia College now, you go there, we say people even go to university. We see a lot of shortcomings in our education system, right? So, but again, I mean, it is okay. Let's have it. But what do you want to have? And then, do you want the quality or the quantity? These are the two different things that we have. I have met people when I was working in the Gambia, and they just stopped at common entrance. I went to college. When I met them, when they write and when they talk, common entrance, I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
Because of the system they went through. So, and then the understanding of issues that they are dealing with. So our education system, and that's why we have a lot of cultural issues. Like this guy is talking about the way Gambia was before, because PPP is a African socialism. That's what they believe in, and that's what we nurture in the Gambia. It's one of our political ideology. Because in the Gambia, it's all about, it's not the government come. No, we believe in care and sharing. Sharing brings tolerance in the Gambia, in the Gambian community, right? So if everybody, as far as you can say Salaam Alaikum, you can greet people in any language, you have to it. There is no like homelessness in Gambia. Then they bring that culture into the Gambia. People care about one another. Today, all those things are gone because of the nature of because the government sent the temperament, right? The way they talk and address people, because the way the government reacts and then the way the politicians react, that also set, that also changed the tune of the community and where we live in. That's why now, instead of we cannot, most people cannot see eye to eye because of political. Before we have people from the same way and from different political parties, they live together.
It was very common.
Very, very common. But today it is based on hatred. People don't like each other. If we are in UDP, this other party, in other party, no. That's why, in fact, you guys talk about coalition building. We can't build coalition because of those kind of issues. But coalition building is in Gambia. PPP was successful through coalition building.
Yeah.
It was there. It's not only 2016.
No, it was there before. But it was different, though. I mean, coalition as a way of, it was sort of different.
Very, very different. Very, very different.
Coalition as a, now it has become the buzzword.
Yes.
Prior to 1994, I mean, you had NCP, you have PPP, you have the UP, you have NLP here and there, Liberation Party. There was no talk of coalition or anything like that. At least it wasn't, a popular phenomena or a way of changing government. It wasn't like that and today. But look, PPP had their problems, absolutely.
Yeah, a perfect government.
I think if I were the information minister or the government of today, before you start downplaying or disrespecting the achievements of other,
not only PV, in fact, even with APRC, we just have to.
I think you should now, and I understand. Do I understand the politics of it? And some of the things that they're saying, the data that they're providing, there is some truth to it. In terms of the amount of, when he talks about kilometer of roads and things like that, maybe you have the data to back it up. But also, you always have to realize the challenges too. The challenges of the times, that has to be put in perspective. Traveling from Farafenni, it was like Tukibu, sorry. It was totally impossible, seriously. Yoni Alalawon. It was Jawara that came with Wimpy, and they built a road that you can go from Kaur to Farafenni in less than 20 minutes. Jammeh came, and what did he do? Improvement. Muturfa, tar road, and made it a tar road. And all of a sudden, Jammeh was the best thing since sliced bread. And Jammeh would use it against Jawara, and all they did was stole the money. He was lying, of course. And now, of course, what did Barrow do? Barrow also was able to build roads, feeder roads in other villages. Getting from those villages to Kaur was like a nightmare. Now, all of a sudden,
they can come in there.
And does he have bragging rights? Absolutely.
Of course.
He has done that. And I can tell you he's going to get a lot of votes because of roads that he built in these communities. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality. Same thing in URR. Some of these
this is what I'm saying. Like, no matter how long Barrow MPP stay that they're gonna go, and then I think they need to set the tune. Because I mean, whatever Barrow said, when I leave here, I want people to remember me. That's what you always say, people, right? I did that. But now, if you don't want to accept the realities before, and then you want people to remember you tomorrow, and then Yadame came that he did the same thing, and I can see more or less the same thing is happening. So are we going to continue? There are historical facts. And then you cannot distort. That's why, and I told them, yes, there are physical structures. We can look at those things. And now let's talk about institutional building. Because when you come, you can just tell me what kind of institution you build. Because the road we are building is under institution. Because of that institution, you are able to, in fact, build those roads.
Right.
Gambia used to have GAMWorks.
Yes.
It was established under PV time. What was GAMWorks doing? What was in the intention of GAMWorks is to, and it was established in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the institutions that, in fact, is complementing your effort. But again, that does not mean you don't get the credit. You get the credit for it because what he is doing is, I went to Gambia, and I can see that I huge, great infrastructure development. You like it or not, okay? But again, and then you also going to look at what that infrastructure development, how much does it affect the Gambian people?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to choose one thing. So PVP, we understand if you go there, people say, yeah, we have this infrastructure, but people are struggling with daily meals. The economy, the affordability is a challenge in the Gambia. So you will say, okay, if I can forgo 2 or 3 roads and then put that thing in order to support the economy to make sure that people can afford rice, they can afford so and so, it's going to help the Gambian people. But again,
I don't want you to really look at it that way. It means like you're trying to downplay those infrastructure as is a choice of like, if you don't do that, then you can invest in the reality is the reality. Mm-hmm. What they're investing in this infrastructure, you want to call it, down the line, whoever becomes president in the next 10, 15, 20 years, it will be something that they can, capitalize on and take the country to a higher level. No doubt about that. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing, there's nothing wrong with it as far as
it's a development, yes.
Where I totally disagree, the idea of acting as if with arrogance that
just watch it.
Because of this our current situation, because we saw this current government came in 2016. This is not ancient history. We all witnessed it. Mm-hmm. So to tell us something that we don't believe in, like all of a sudden Gambia is the best country in sliced bread. We're not buying that.
No, it's not even for you.
What's the reason that we voted?
The people they're talking to is young people who doesn't know nothing about it, and they don't. And then again, if you look at most of the journalists in the Gambia are young people. And most of those journalists believe that the politics actually started in 2016. You can see their questions online, and they talk to them. So it's even the journalists, the way they ask questions, and I can one say, yeah, they will build the airport. Come on, he built a terminal. It's a terminal base we build there. We all know that, right?
Yeah,
it's terminal airport. Simple. So these are some, and these things were paraded. Yeah, they make people don't build airport. They don't build airport. But
one thing, Nyanko, I like though.
Yeah.
The crack wheat program. You can be poor and you don't have breakfast and lunch.
Yes.
But guaranteed, when you go to school, you'll be fed well. That I remember that.
The school feed
with that corned beef and all this stuff, amenities, you get feed every single day.
If you fed,
and also we forgot about the rice distribution, whereby families will just come based off census.
What I was trying.
Yeah, they come out all those, and someone told me those rice are still being donated.
What I heard, yeah.
But the 4 families, and I think it started with Jammeh, and people don't get these distributions.
He make a business out of it. He said Jammeh something business, and then they sell those rice cheaply. Yeah,
they call it budget support. So what they do is they turn around.
And these rices are getting donated every single, still, but people are not benefiting from it. So it's very sad.
You have to shift gears now because time is going. Without a doubt.
Yeah. You see, Tukulor Gami, it says crack weight. With corned beef as Benichin was. I remember that.
You know what happened now? Sorry, I'm talking about crack weight. That's what I went back to. When you have these diabetes challenges and blood pressure, go back to crack weight. I'm telling you, this bulgur crack weight, it's very healthy. And it reminds me of my primary school days. Boy, we crack with what they call domoda. You can't beat that.
I know I'm not old as Musa Jang, as Kofu said, but I still remember.
I want to thank you guys, man. I just want to talk about a little bit about our challenges. One of the problems that we have in the Gambia, and I think as PPP, that what we are thinking for the future. I understand one of the reasons why people are forgotten. If you look at the PPP governance system, let's examine that. It was a parliamentary system.
Yes.
Where, right? Government ministers, you have to be elected by the people.
Be elected by the people. Yes.
What that does is to make government closer to the people.
Yes.
There are ministers that are talking. The people cannot hold them accountable.
Yeah.
For Jawara, even himself can also be held accountable by the same minister. You know why? Because if he fired that minister, the minister would be at the parliament, could be an opposition side of Karaba Jawara.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes we hear ministers.
I see where you're going with that.
I'm coming. I'm telling you our ideology, what we think should be done in the future, and where Gambia has a problem is because of the people are forgotten. Ministers come and say things without no accountability. And again, look at how that affects our income.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are paying the 53 National Assembly members separate budget. We are paying the ministers separate budget. A small economy like Gambia, do you think we can survive that? And this is why we're having a problem. So I think for PPP, what we believe, that is the system of governance. It's an infusion of power. It's successful in many countries.
So you think we should go back to that?
If you go back there, for example, we have Dr. Ismail Cisse coming here and he knows he can only be a minister when he win elections. You think things that he's saying today, you're going to say it? Now, let's be honest. You sit down here, the president sit down here and pick somebody from America, come and sit here. We have been in Gambia for let's say for many years.
But Nanko, though,
these are the problems that we are facing.
Huh? Looking at the people that are running for the National Assembly, if it were a parliamentary system, you have to understand there's a downside to it. Yes. You may get folks in the National Assembly that do not really have the expertise to run some of these ministries as a cabinet minister. So if you have, because winning an election, it all comes down to your relationships. Sometimes people vote on ethnic grounds. People vote on kina hamnako or haumako. So the people that you're going to find in the parliament, supposedly, are not necessarily that they have the prerequisites or the expertise.
I can tell you, let me just one thing.
That's why when Jammeh came up with the idea, I mean, not everybody poo-poo at it. They were saying, you know what? This might not be a bad idea.
But it's a bad idea eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
no. What I'm saying, let's say, accountability. That's what people are afraid of. Yadame has dominated. He changed the entire 1993 constitution.
Yeah.
Okay, if you are looking for education, where are those educated people? Because he is an executive president who has a right to hire and fire, and then you as a minister, you lost your job and you have no other income to rely on.
I mean, there's upside, there's a downside.
The downside, the downside here is Mr. What we're going to talk about here. I want to analyze these things so you understand what I'm talking about here. During Jawara time, there are something called nominated members.
Yes.
Okay. Now these nominated members they don't have right to vote. And that's why Jawara, in fact, put those nominated members in the cabinet. So they can let's say the current Chief Justice wasn't contesting an election, but he was nominated as an Attorney General because they need somebody who can ultimately. What is if you have a farmer who's an agriculture, it's a farmer, and then if you go to any minister and then PV ministers, their compound are full of capacity with people. These ministers are sitting in their corners; they don't even live with the people. And then how do you think people can hold them accountable? And then the president can, so what I'm saying is that these are some of the challenges that the country is facing.
He's saying the same thing.
Yes, so what I'm saying, when you PPP, let's understand our idea. Yes.
Looking at our politics today,
yes.
I'm just telling you, if we have this parliamentary system, I mean, you think they're much closer to the people and all of that, but I don't know how you're going to do it.
I can tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. This idea of separation of power, it doesn't exist. It's not true. Now, let's say, for example, you're in America here. Trump does whatever he want to do at the Congress.
Definitely.
It's a power when one person have it. So what do you want to achieve when we say we want to have something? What are we achieving? There are laws that the parliamentarian passed there. We all watch it. They passed a law currently now denying poor people to contest also in the Gambia. There are no consequences for it. Now you want to be a parliamentarian, you want to contest for National Assembly election because they're in the incumbent. They say you have to pay $150,000 as a nomination fee.
Yeah.
What I'm saying for PPP, when we get the opportunity, we went back there. That's number one thing we think. It is very bad for our economy.
So you mean you're going to change the constitution
if there's a possibility. There's a possibility. I don't know yet. When in fact we can, if in that single idea can go there, and we can make a case for it. You can go to referendum for only that single idea to make sure we have a system where look at all these people. What kind of car? The Parado, 1.5 million cars they are running every day. Come on, let's think about it. There is nobody can overcome them.
But Nanko, a little bit of a pushback too. During the Jawara era, I mean, we all remember these black Mercedes Benzes. I mean, looking at our economy at that time, people were saying, "Oh my God," and they were also these cabinet ministers. I listened to Mercedes Benz.
I listened to
vehicle for the family.
I listened to Banker yesterday or 2 days ago. Yes, 2 days ago. He was saying, I mean, his own word. When we are there, they are telling us some ministers have swimming pools in their house. It's called Radio Kankang, he said, right? And they believe it. And then when he had a coup, he was saying his own story, how he believed it, and eventually how he think APT was false. But again, come back to that, because today I can tell you Yadame is proven that his government was corrupt.
No, he wasn't saying that people were living lives too.
No, it's true. What I'm
saying. Musa, I traveled for 5 good years from Brikama to Banjul. I wake up 5 a.m. in the morning or 4:30 in the morning with the man boss, the GPTC. I don't know whether you remember that.
Man, of
course. What I'm gonna say on the record is that was true. You seen a minister or permanent secretary have 3 vehicles or 4 vehicles.
Of course.
You stand there across Gambia High School after school. I mean, you don't get home till about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
I was there, Nanko.
But you got folks. And if you stop them, how do they say it? Who am I? So with their black Mercedes, that was true.
If you experience something personally, I'm going to dispute that. What I'm saying, that does not in any way negate the fact that, right? Let's say if it's only ministers are doing it, but now we have a complete system where the National Assembly members are separate, the ministers are separate, and they're all look at how much they pay them every year. They just increase their salaries, right? So what I'm saying in general, it's better we have one system that work for the economy than have separate system and they're all doing the same thing and that affect the economy.
I am not somebody who is very much in love with the parliamentary system. I like the separation of powers if it works well. Like you said,
it doesn't work. Separation of powers.
Like when somebody is elected as president and you come up with your policy and your programs that you do not allow politics to handcuff you. In other words, you're not only going to rely on people that get elected in the National Assembly. Because the National Assembly, then it becomes more of a rubber stamp.
What I'm saying, what I'm telling you, if you look at the Gambian economy, I'm thinking about an economic perspective of it. You can even take it to the West. If you look at Gambia, for example, it's not working for Gambia. The role of the National Assembly is to hold it's an oversight function.
Oversight, yes.
Yada bring the system. Was the other parliamentarian doing oversight? It's a rubber stamp. They in fact went trying to nullify our electoral result in 2016. You watch it.
Yeah.
True or false? So it's not working because once they have the power, and if be rest assured, an incumbent will always have the majority. They do whatever they want to do. Yeah. So it does. The idea of separation of power was to be for the people. And if you do want that to be the case, then you have to make sure those parliamentarians, and let's say Barrow want to fire a minister, for example, and that minister is a parliamentarian, and then there are 2 things you're going to think about. If I fire this minister, he has his job at the parliament. How many ministers can he fire? You sit down one day, he said, I dissolve my cabinet one day. If you dissolve your cabinet, you go and meet them at the parliament.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't work for our economy. And this is why I'm saying the PPP, this is what we believe. That's why our people are forgotten. That's why people are crying. And that's why ministers will come and say whatever they want to say. That's why ministers are insulting. That's why ministers are attacking. Nobody can help them. Only one person can help them account, President Barrow. That's it. And that's why
Keba Langsane is saying this.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say now we have a parliamentary type of government like you're talking about, and looking at our current situation in the National Assembly, who are the folks then you're going to yank to be, to be manning these ministries? And these are the challenges.
No. Again, again, we can talk about this again. Let's say.
So your fallback is this.
Yes.
Well, the president will be able to nominate people in the National Assembly in order to make them ministers.
What I'm saying, that's not my fallback.
Exactly.
That's not my fallback. Let me say one thing.
Fallback though.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying.
You didn't say that the Attorney General. That is going to be
Minister of Finance,
a nominated member.
Minister of Finance,
Ministry of Finance, that'll be a nominated member.
No. What I'm saying, it doesn't even say what role they should play. He has a power, just like Barrow have power to nominate 5 people. That's where you come in. You can put them anywhere you want to put them in.
No, but even that appointment nominated member in the past 2020 draft, that was kind of eliminated.
It's eliminated. Let's say in fact we eliminated that. So this is what's going to happen, because if you go to the cabinet, right? I mean, as I said, there are ministers who don't even go to school, right? And that's why Jawara makes sure we have a strong civil service.
Right.
Because when you have a civil service strong, the role of a minister is basically an oversight. Can you doubt that we have strong civil servants in those days? Sarah Jang and other people. Yes. So what he did was, even ministers don't have the side, but we have a disciplined civil servant that actually understand how.
That is very dangerous. I'm telling you, it did not.
What do we have? What do we have now?
Some of these ministers were just rubber stamp. Now the permanent secretaries. That's why these people were so kind of really. They were so important because you rely on them.
Yes.
The current system that we have, you have a minister who is also an expert within, let's say you go to finance or you go to agriculture. If you have a minister who really knows his stuff, and then you still have the technical arm, I think as a country we're better off than to just have a minister who doesn't really have the prerequisite.
Okay, now, fine. Okay, now, it's fine. Let's take that as an argument. Okay, let's look at did Dr.
We have to bring Mr. Nanko back,
yes,
though.
We have to.
I'm going to give you an example. Let's say. Yeah.
I just wanted him to talk about the pushback.
Yes.
And that we're going into parliamentary system versus.
Now, so anyway, thank you very much, because I just want to say this thing. Look at we can talk about this, what the people are saying. But what I believe in, our economy right now suffered a lot. If you look at the budget, allocations given to the National Assembly, how much they have, how many cars they're going to have, and all those things, it suffocates our economy. So that's what I believe, that parliamentary system was the best system that PP introduced, and we should go back to that. And then any way we can do it better, we can do it better. Because it worked in PP because of PP has a system that is respected, and that's why it works. It works. So it works. But this one fails. We all know it fails. So
thank you.
Yeah, so this one fails. So anyway, I want to thank you guys. Yeah, I want to thank you guys.
The only one.
Yeah,
you're not the only one who have made this argument before.
Yeah,
even Sidisane, I remember him making the same argument that we need to get back to the parliamentary system. Man, that's not really. I like the current system as it is. Now,
but the current system is not working.
And we make it, it's because it's the culture of our politics. That is why we're all vying to bring about change come 2026. It can work. Can it really work?
What did Halifa say? If the system doesn't work, change the system.
Well, what I'm saying is, yes, it's when everything is said and done, it's in our hands as voters. If we vote and say that, you know what, we have a problem with this leader, anyway, we vote him out of office, we bring in somebody else. And that's how you get the system to work. Really. The system works in terms of at least the people that are manning these ministries. I seriously believe some of them are very effective.
Some of them, okay.
The Minister of Higher Education.
Very well.
Not just handpick somebody in the National Assembly. And there are other ministries that are run by people that definitely, you cannot question their capabilities. But anyway, Keba, we'll have to bring you back. We have to run through these
Thank you guys, man, for being here.
Thank you.
Here.
Keba, I know Farimang is your guy, but just to let you know, he named his baby after me last week. So
oh, really?
Yes.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations, Saria, man. Congratulations. It is well deserved, man. Wow, I didn't know about that.
Yes.
Toma, you know? Wow.
Yes.
You know, Farimang is our youth mobilizer. National youth mobilizer. You know? Yeah. But
Thank
again, congratulations.
All right, bro.
Yeah,
Are you guys still? I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to. Well, bring you back because there are a lot of questions I have to ask. And your leader, for whatever reason, we've reached out a few times. He doesn't want to come to 40 people by the people. I don't know what the deal is.
All right, we gonna.
I reached out to you. I reached out to the guy in Dallas, Singate.
Okay.
And so we have to make it happen in 2026.
No, we're gonna make it happen because the party is focused on so many issues. I think from the beginning, right? But we are now overcoming those challenges. But I want
you guys did not go to the coalition talks either, so that we would have.
Yes. You know, as I said, when we come, we want to focus within. You know, you can see we want to focus on our party. Because if you want to really have coalition with people, you need to also demonstrate what your strengths are, and that strength is dependent on your structure.
But
I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much for inviting me here. I am very happy to have this conversation. As I said, we have a lot to say for the future. One of these reasons, one of the things we're going to talk about today, as I just initiated the discourse on, is for us to go back to where we are from because we're here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I have a soft spot for DK Jawara. I really do. And so anytime we talk about PPP, I mean, I have a little bit of bias who the man is and what he has done for our country. Really, I really do. I always his intellect and also his temperament as a leader. I think that's what the country needs. We need somebody like Sadauda, you know, especially current situation that we have. Someone like that.
I didn't want to prolong the count. But he was very effective there against Doide. He said something in Madinka, and I'm not gonna repeat it for the sake of it. So
I don't want to prolong, right? You know, I'm lucky today. I don't have Pasamba here. You know, Pasamba
exactly. You know? You're bringing out all the negativity.
Pasamba would bring everything. But Pasamba is from Doi. You know what? It is why it is. You know, and I think I'm here just because. Thank you so much.
Time is running out.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey, Keba is a passionate Sarian.
Musa, oh, he's very passionate.
He doesn't play with PPP day.
When you were saying this, I kinda think of the old man. His campaign. His campaign. Do you remember that? Do you remember? Huh?
Very effective. He was very effective.
Yeah, the meaning of PDOIs and socialism. His interpretation of it in local language.
That might be more insinuating. Even your wife will not only belong to you.
Absolutely.
No, Jawara was effective.
Oh yes.
Tell you, just compare him with the leaders of his times within the African continent. That tells you that there was something about Jawara. Seriously, I mean, he was much more of the moderate type. And Jawara dal benen fasong indidla. I think he came to Gambia at the wrong time. This should have been his time to get a leader like Jawara, if you ask me. But that's just me. But starting a year in review.
Yes. I'm grateful.
Constitution, you guys call it the Jawara papers, the Barrow papers, was rejected. They revised the 2024 draft at the National Assembly. And the more and this is what I was looking at. You know, we're all talking about coalition and the complexity and the difficulty. And I was one of the few, and of course, the National Human Rights Commission, the Mar Nyangs of this world, they were saying, let's allow this thing to pass. Let's get this, in as much as it has a lot of things that doesn't favor our democracy per se. Maybe help the executive. But I always said here, let's get an insurance policy in our back pocket. Let's get the 50+1. Let's get the term limit. Everything else for me was, I'll deal with it when I can deal with it. And what I was thinking was, with the 50+1, we will not even be talking about coalition talks, wasting our time. Everybody will get in the fight, and then the Gambian people will decide. Then we have a second round of voting. If Sariang Marong wants to vote for UMC, he doesn't have to worry about, he would just go and vote for UMC. It's not like if I vote for UMC, this person is going to win, or if I vote for this person, that person is going to win. The thinking was, let's just pass the damn thing. And then still, even if the person gets re-elected, we've already term limited him constitutionally. But it didn't happen. I believe it was a mistake, and we're dealing with it now. And if Barrow gets re-elected, he can even run in 2031. Can you believe that? I thought it was a mistake. I thought the reaction was more emotional from the opposition, and they went into what the Americans will say, suck it to him, like they suck it to us for the 2020 draft, payback time, without being strategic about it. And I thought it was a mistake.
Mistake by who, though?
Huh?
Mistake by who?
No, it was a mistake in terms of helping bring about the change that we all would want to see come 2026. It was a mistake that we didn't allow it to, because at least we will have term limit.
Oh, who did not allow it? That's what I want you to elaborate on.
Because we voted against it.
So, but who did? I mean, there was a lot of issues.
Like Sariang Marong, Pasamba Jau, the Marijobanis of this world, people with the big mics, you guys were here saying, reject it, reject it, reject it.
But what was the reason? You just cannot label people and calling people names without justifying and articulating the reason leading to that point.
All of us had a problem with the process. The process was flawed.
Okay. But even though you said it's okay.
But all I'm saying is we needed to be strategic.
Okay.
They said, you know what? Okay. You think you got it all figured out? Okay. We're going to go ahead. We're going to push it, and we're going to allow it to pass. We're going to go through a referendum. We will be sitting looking at a new constitution where there is going to be a second round of voting, where there will be a term limit for any person. To me, that would have been an improvement from the night. In as much as, was it a perfect document? Absolutely not. But we would have been better off, politically speaking, I believe. And also the consolidation of our democracy. Manlula Gumun, correct? And now more than ever, I'm seeing it now.
There was no political will from the leader of the Gambia, first of all. And there was a lot of flawed, as you rightfully accepted, saying that the process was flawed. It needs to be transparent, and it requires negotiation. And you have to lead these negotiations for the most. It cannot be done in isolation. So I think from here, we just spoke to another coalition group who wanted to build a coalition. But the steps that you take, you have to have buy-in in these processes. But if people have this perception issue, even your rollout process, there is flawed and there is missteps and everything, that's where the problem comes in. And yes, quite honestly, there should be a negotiation, but you have to lead. And the leadership was not there. And that's the key word here. Leadership was not there. No one was leading from the front, Fadamos. And that leads us to the second segment of diaspora voting. Because there was absolutely...
The way you're missing my point. This was not a government that was interested in the new constitution. Politics here is a game of chess. What they wanted to do is to show the Gambian people as if they're interested, because it's about the legacy of the president in a new constitution. They were not. So what they did was they put a poison pill in it. Poison pill how? Through by basically the process itself. But forget about the process. Or that,
what?
No, forget about the process. They're looking for a buy-in. They were not interested in a buy-in. What I'm saying is, as opposition, as the National Human Rights Commission saw it, as people like other CSOs like Marnyang, they saw it.
I'm not gonna take two organizations.
No,
somehow those are the representation. You like to spin this around and blame people. Hold on. Let me push back a little bit on this notion.
Halifa Sallah saw it. Halifa said,
well, other people saw it differently, and they are entitled.
Let's allow it to go past the second reading.
Well, Halifa might be wrong, and Human Rights Commission might be wrong. Marnyang was wrong, right? So we cannot come here and start naming people like they represent the plurality of Gambians, and they are there to speak on their behalf. People see this as the process was flawed from the get-go, and there was absolutely no political will. And you're saying, oh, we did all that, let's move forward. And that's not how it works. If it's a perfect world today, we're not going to be in the midst of where we are today, because everything will be kumbaya, and we will all shake hands and march to the promised land.
That's my last word on this issue. This is what I know. In 2026, December 5th, there's going to be a general election. And I do believe, as an opposition who wants to see change in 2026, I believe if we had passed the 2024 draft, where we would have term limits and a 50+1, just the mere politics of it, I think as an opposition, we would have been better off. Man lulla gum. And that is the truth. And I have the last word.
And that's okay. You are entitled to your opinion.
Rejection.
Huh? What?
In the National Assembly, we were all hoping upon hope that the diaspora would be voting. At least that's what we thought. Our involvement in 2026, Ali Momar Njai has said it several times, that they are working on making sure that we vote come 2026. Even some of us thought that 2021 said they were going to vote. We went outright. And only to see the National Assembly, wow, hide behind some constitutional technicalities, deny us the right to vote. I was just reading when I woke up this morning, there was a line in Gambia, Guinea, they're having their presidential elections. Guineans in Gambia were lining up and voting. Senegalese, when there are Senegalese elections in the Gambia, Senegalese are lining up and voting. Guinea-Bissau, supposedly we are the same people. But in Gambia, no.
So what happened there, though?
In the world, huh?
What happened? Why the rejection of diaspora voting?
It's very simple. Absolutely simple. It was the politics of it.
Oh.
By the current government, just like they realized that they were not interested in a new constitution that will give us second round of voting and give us a term limit, they were also not interested in having us enfranchised and to be able to participate in the process. Why not? If politically they didn't see it, there was one risk that they don't want to take. And as an opposition, I'm not sure whether we didn't fight back the way we were supposed to. Well, they were young coach, they went to the Supreme Court actually came and agreed with us that we should do something constitutionally that should deny us from voting. But still, nothing. Did we put the political pressure? I don't believe so. Apart from us coming on the media and talking, and they say they that was their approach. And when everything is said and done, they vote against it in the National Assembly when they were discussing the supposed new election laws. What's your take, bro?
Oh, I mean, as I said, if there is no political will, there is no leadership. There is not
What
going
do
to
we
be
do? We just take it?
what.
No political will.
I wish they could change. And they could include diaspora voting and all the flawed clauses in that constitution, banning competent people who had dual citizenship not to vie for high office. Think about it. You and I talk about this. People vying for the National Assembly, because I tell you what, the current composition is the most inconsequential National Assembly of our lifetime. What do they do? What do they accomplish? Let's review that for 2025 and beyond.
Definitely.
What did they do? They loaned themselves with a Pajero.
Yes.
They increased their salaries exponentially.
Absolutely.
And it's all about me. People, there was a debate about their constituency allowances, right, whether that's been even spent on the right thing or taking care of those who have voted them into office. We don't know, because absolutely there is no accountability. So obviously they are the most useless. And I think, the sooner the better, and people say, okay, we're going to have someone who stand up and vote for a bill or put his hands or raise his name tag to say yes or no. It's more than that. This is an institution which is co-equal to the judiciary and the executive. Absolutely. But we don't have the people in there who are competent enough to actually articulate or push bill that is beneficial to the people who elected them. So that's very, very troubling. If you've seen someone in the debate, if you see the debate itself and you were like, holy macro, I mean, where is he coming from? But these are the people who are representing. But if you look at those areas where they came from, there is a lot of competent folks that could have made a huge stride. No, nada. We still got the status quo because we're satisfied with the status quo. And this status quo, the people who continue enriching themselves, who thinks about rob allowance, transportation allowance, whatever allowance, they keep increasing. Every bill is about enriching. They are talking about inheritance now, about grand duty, what they could do and all that stuff. This is what is troubling. I mean, for almost 60 years, we continue on the same path. Think about less of your folks who you are representing, thinking more about me. And you come here and tell us somehow we need to steady as she goes and just continue on the same trajectory. I think it's complete BS, if you call me.
Yeah, I don't have a disagreement with you as far as the National Assembly is concerned. That's why when Nanko was kind of trying to drag us back to this parliamentary system, I don't think that's the way to go, to be very honest with you. Yes, are they thinking about me, taking care of themselves? Absolutely. In Gambia, I mean, that's just basically the name of the game. What you have now is the only way you can be successful, and that tells you a lot about the problem with the economy. If you think that the only way you can be successful is by basically, joining the public sector, either becoming you can even be a middle-class civil servant and then still be able to build $1 million houses. Really, just in the Gambia, really. To be in the private sector and make it is almost impossible. The people that are actually making it, that is why you see everybody is now running for public office. Why you see all these politicians? Okay, now there are some of them, definitely they are driven by core beliefs, but I can guarantee you it's because they know. If I go out there today, if I were to announce today and say that I am going to join NPP, I can guarantee you I'll be doing okay. I seriously do believe that.
But that's very unfortunate, though,
Absolutely unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
That's where our country is. How do we change that? How? In 2026. We're going to have an opportunity to do that. and that is
to by how?
To vote him out of office, ultimately. But
how do we do that? What is the formula?
But you see, for people like you, I nailed down the formula 2 years ago. What we needed to do.
What is that?
Get rid of him, and that was changing that constitution that would make it.
Oh man, come on! That's that we passed that stage, and I still stand firm on my position.
Now, okay, I agree with you. It's water under the bridge. Now, we are in this situation. Look, 2 weeks ago, was it Pasamba of all people stood here and said Barrow is going to win? Political pundits, they tell you that if things remain the same, they don't see the opposition defeating Barrow. Now, I'm not talking about people that are partisan. Now, do I see a way that he can be defeated? Yeah, but I wasn't born yesterday. You know, I would like to believe with the youth vote and the rise of the UMC, there is a way, there is a path to victory. But again, I wasn't born yesterday. Am I willing to put a bet on it? I think there is a better way. I mean, I wouldn't say a better way. There's a safer bet, a safer path than that. Now, some would say, my cousins, Karamba, would go out there and make this analysis that if every political party go out there and compete ferociously, is a way that UDP can find a path to victory. Do I believe that? Is it possible? Yes, but I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I do not want to bet on that. Just like I don't want to bet on the KMC. Now, I understand that Halifa is going to come with a coalition of, he calls it Team Gambia. What is that going to lead to? I don't know. How many people are going to get involved? Now, the easiest way to do it, when all the parties come together, then Barrow is history. How you do that? Fala affaire bi neka. How you bring all these political parties together under one roof? You know what? We want to save our country. We want to change the trajectory. We want to change the culture of politics. And for us to be able to do that, forget about our party manifestos. We're going to come up with a joint manifesto for change, for 5 years transition. Everybody is on board. Everybody is on board. And then they find a way to deal with who is going to lead this group with strong agreements that we don't repeat what happened in 2016. I watched the information minister, Dr. Sise. It's interesting. See, you always have to listen to what they're saying and what they're afraid of. He said, yeah, how can you have a coalition without a UDP party that made 27% of the votes? I mean, that is something that you can. Dr. Sise is the one advising us now, the opposition. It's up to no good. It's not. Just like when I floated the idea of UMC and UDP finding a way. Oh, he saw a problem in that. He's like, oh, no. How can you guys now you're talking about bringing the parties together? All that. That's what they are afraid of. If we're going to rely on a Dr. Sise to tell us what the opposition can do in terms of the effective way that they can come.
Before he said that, though, he said something very striking.
What did he say?
And just to captivate his analysis to the general public. And he says, I am speaking not as Minister of Information, but as a political scientist, professor who understand politics. And he'll add this line there and I say, fool me once, but not twice, man. I'm telling you right now, if he's that great of a politician, I think CA would have been on a different footing. So I don't. You just what? I align myself with your analysis, and it says a lot. about what they are saying. So don't
what Dr. said, whether it's true or not, yes, I think it will be very difficult to form a coalition that UDP is not a part of. So without a doubt. Nobody's gonna doubt that.
I mean, it's unfortunate, Musa. We always have this discussion, and I always say to people, and when we got it, don't misinterpret what Gambians are very aware.
Yeah.
And I think, it's unfortunate that we're going through this path again. Here is what I always say in counter to what any formula folks bring in and try to put that as somehow a bargaining chip. We tried this, Musa, in 2016, not just, but yes, Jammeh was a dictator. We get that.
It was an existential threat, definitely.
But also, we had a message.
Yeah.
A message that brings people together, not divide them, right? Yeah. So, and again, it is sort of, motivate a lot of folks to gravitate towards that thing that is unifying. And what I see here today is you say one thing, even if you take picture with someone, they attack you. They say stuff like that. I mean, it's both everywhere. I mean, it's very toxic. And I think unless and until we realize that bringing people together, first, you have to articulate your vision. But also, how do I win the hearts and minds of people? Not everybody's going to come on board.
No.
But at least put a proposition out there that's going to motivate or at least intrigue people to buy off on what you are selling. But if you're not doing that, the status quo continue. And you can call it what it is. Barrow is not. How are you going to stop Barrow not contesting for the third term? You don't have anything that would, give you power. The Constitution is not there. The 1997 Constitution says he can buy office and how many times he wants, right? So unless and until we put our house in order, the status quo shall remain. All the things that if we talk about how bad he is, how deplorable, horrible the condition is. Now think about it. Do I get everything that when I get to a negotiation table with Musa, am I going to get everything? No. I have to give up on something and get another thing. But the whole thing somehow, I'm going to set that on this proposition. I don't think it's a way to get a good formula or get people motivated to come and this division is out there. You're talking about Halifa coming up with something. What does that look like? How people are going to buy off on that stuff? Well, it's yet to see. We are yet to see on what's going on. But I said, there's a fundamental issue, and you have to be strategic in approaching that. And I guess there is no formula still. It's 12 months till elections, and maybe less, 11 months now. But again, these conversations needs to happen. We cannot just whitewash, come up with some formula that we really think it doesn't work anywhere. So, it is what it is.
Look, for me, this coalition talks is not something new, and I'm sure for you too as well. We've dwelt on this going all the way back to the early 2000s. It wasn't easy then, and it's not easy now. Anybody who is like a novice in this thing, Yai Fogne, is an easy thing. All the arguments that we're hearing now, I've heard it for years. Really. No such thing. Even this whole idea of a primary, before that, 2016, people said it's not going to work. That's what people used to say. That a primary within different political parties to build a coalition is impossible because there is no other place. Primaries only happen within the same parties. And I'm like, who made the rule? This idea that it doesn't happen somewhere else and somehow it cannot happen in our situation, it was nonsense. And obviously it happened and it worked. Look, for me, the first thing for each party, especially the big players, man woman use the small players there, the big players, ñi nga xamne ñom ñoo mëna tax coalition wara mëna am. Ci man la wax de man ci suma xam-xam bu ndaw moy doy Halifa Salah's pronouncement, Alhaji Ousainou Darboe UDP's utterances. I mean, Essa Faal has become a voice. Whether we like it or not, he contested in 2021. He's here again. So he's a voice. And then you have, Mama Kande. When I had to pick and choose. And then there are other personalities. Like, Bakari Bunja Dabo. All right? And then you have some of these parties that are coming. And yes, UMC, Talib Ahmed Bensouda. So these are new players, Nyo Hamne. They do have a constituency that needs to be listened to. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect the newer parties too as well. But first, you have to admit, I will not be able to do this if we want to bring about change. Now, Sufekene, we really want to leave it up to the Gambian people, and we do not have the existential threat like we had in 2016, and it doesn't matter who wins. We allow the Gambian people to decide, then kuneka regna them, and the Gambian people will decide who win. I don't have a problem with that. But if we seriously believe that for our democracy to be consolidated, we're gonna digger to change the culture of politics, to say we want to set Gambia on a totally different trajectory in terms of corruption, in terms of lifting the lives of the Gambian people for once. And the only way we can do it is to make a fundamental change. And that change doesn't really matter who is going to be the leader, but what we agreed upon as far as those changes are concerned. You believe as a party, you will not be able to do it alone, and you are open to sit down, then we have a chance. But if you come with a precondition, then the only way I'm going to agree to this, Moine, for instance, and I hate it when people throw words like, well, the only coalition that I support if there is a winnable candidate. How in the hell do you determine that? That's a very subjective thing. If you say, I'm only going to support a coalition based on a winnable candidate, and most of the time, people that are saying that, it's wink, wink. The person that you're talking about is not winnable. I don't think that's a false start. I also do believe you cannot come here and say, the United Democratic Party get 250,000 votes, and any coalition that we are going to arrange, you come and join us so that we can defeat. Back in 2006, it didn't work, and I don't think it's going to work now. In 2016, it didn't work, and I don't think it's going to work now. I think the narrative has to change, even if you believe that. Now, do I understand where they're coming from? Absolutely. Ku am ñetti téeméeri junne karta wax dëgg yàlla doo ko mun a wax ne kay topp koo xam ne amul karta. I get that. But lu nekk is the approach, and let's sit down. Let's show a little bit of sincerity and that we're genuine for the change. And it's not just a question of replacing Barrow. No one has time for that. Su fekkee ne rek ne parti bu nekk nga dem ak your beliefs and it is about your agenda, then fine. Ñun ñëpp nañ dem to the polls and then we let the Gambian people decide. Nañ jël yëfi coalition yi yëpp ñu tegee ko boor. If UMC believe they're the new kid the new kid with all these young people as supporters and that they have the votes out there to defeat President Barrow, fine. If United Democratic Party believe me, they were the ones that pulled the 200,000 votes, and this time around, fine. But most observers are saying if the parties don't find a way, because ultimately the Gambian people, they have the buy-in. And I, knowing my folks, knowing the electorate, then ampur gomne munda win. That is the key. Not about your party manifesto. Party manifesto monkai is all over the place. Everyone has a manifesto, my friend. That's not what's going to do it. But I think each party has to be honest. In no disrespect to Coalition for System Change, Nyom Solbaji, okay, Bafun. Like I said, I know where their heart is. I've worked with these people. They want to do the right thing. But I'm telling you, man, even though Saul said, is good ne ñun we're nakalinko we're skeptics, and that's good for them, but I think it will be very difficult for them to bring these people together. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the third force. I mean, Bobo Moidi, what I would call that people think more easy to happen. When the NPP would run on its own, UDP would run on its own, and then these smaller parties will find a way of coming together and form a third force. Bobusa Duyomba. Even that one is difficult. Because the same problem you have, who is going to lead, that's not just going to disappear. It's all forget you are mistaken. It ain't going to be easy. Now, what most folks would say that, personally, this is what I believe. We're going to have four parties running for the come 2026 for the presidency. Manlula Gomrao. Until I see something different. I have a feeling that NPP is going to put up a candidate. I believe the UDP is going to put up a candidate. I'm absolutely certain that UNC and Talib Ahmed Bensouda, they want him to run because they think he can win. And then you're going to have the rest that may forge an alliance of some sort. And then there are other people that will come and complement some of these other parties. Some will go with UDP, some will go with UMC, and some will go with that fourth force. So we might end up with four really parties, coalition, if you want to call it, going into 2026. Because look, there's no way the United Democratic Party under Alhaji Ousainou Darboe will step aside for any other candidate to lead a coalition. Duam! Really? So that tells you, because Sudan before the fracture that you have within the UDP itself, don't happen. So Bobo is don't even question that. I also do believe that the UMC that I see, Talib Ahmed Bensouda did not leave the United Democratic Party, a party that always the party that has a bankable over 200,000 votes, right? To go join another coalition that he is not going to lead. I do not see that happening. Degu Malolu, who is this? No, United Kingdom. I can't take this. I'm on the thing. I mean, do you see that? So to me, it's not like I'll let you come in so that I get this call. Maybe this guy wants to call me.
Man, it is what it is. And, hopefully, the meats of the minds come together and find a path forward. That's all I got to say. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much. But the next 2025 in review is the capture of the jungler, Mr. Sana Manyang. And I seen that the people, raising, issues with him not in communication with his family and, and all that. So I really, hope and pray that people understand that this guy is just not a normal prisoner, right? We've all heard all the horrendous acts that he did. And him not talking is a strategy, right? So, Faramos, I don't know whether you heard me, but I transition over the arrest of Mr. Manyang. I was talking about that, lately I read a piece whereby someone was kind of questioning. I mean, he was actually questioning why the government doesn't give access to his family members to see him and all that. And I was just kind of giving my take on this whole issue. I mean, we all knew, we all heard, how the man, the horrendous act that he did. And upon his capture, from what I understood, is he's not even cooperating with.
Yeah, I just put the link on.
So operating.
Sorry.
Yeah, so he's not cooperating with the authorities to get some so how do you let everyone to come visit him? And this is a very dangerous guy. So
Senator Manjang you're talking about.
Yes, and I think people just need to kind of give chance for authorities to do their work, to collect intelligence and to collect information. I'm not gonna sit here and say, that is against human, but you have controls in place, especially such a high target prisoner who doesn't want to cooperate and who is not forthcoming, who is not talking, and all that. There's acts that or strategies that you deploy in order to deprive him from those things, and hopefully, as he goes into that psychological mode, he would rethink of his position and start cooperating, and folks will let him go. So people we can't have it both ways. I mean, he was just arrested, probably a month ago. So they need to let folks gather information. They need to let them interview him and gather critical information to help them, pursue others who are out there who might pose immediate danger to the Gambia and its citizens at large. So we just need to kind of, I know there is democracy, and this is where democracy and rule of law and individual rights, sometimes they had conflict, but we have to let folks do their work. We haven't heard any type of torture, and that's good. But let them work through the complexities and get to the bottom of get to critical information that is required in
Americans call that?
Huh?
Like, what do you Americans call that? Back in was it in what's the place again? Iraq. They call it they have a word for it, not waterboarding. There was a name for it there. Americans, they call it what? There was a phrase that is not too far away from torture, but they had a name for it. Waterboarding. They'll make you answer the question.
No.
You only sleep 2 hours and they'll wake you up.
Well, I mean, you want them to talk, Musa. The fact that we heard all these things, and I'm sure,
Right.
There is this saying, and there was audios that he was in Guinea and all that, and and there's a piece to it. And
Mari Jabade said, enhanced interrogation techniques. That's why you Americans used to call it enhanced interrogation techniques. Can you believe that? These Americans were torturing people, calling it enhanced interrogation techniques.
Well, they're not torturing him, but they can do what they want to ensure that he's
waterboarding them.
Huh? No, they're not gonna waterboard. If they waterboarding, people like Maddie will come up on your arms. Oh, you violate his rights. So it's
no, I'm just saying.
It's a very delicate balance, Musa. Huh?
Because you're saying that Sana is not basically cooperating.
Oh, he's not talking, and they've said that. I mean, they said he's not talking, and he needs to talk, Musa. I mean, they did not accuse him of all this stuff that happened, and we've heard this firsthand at the TRRC. So at some point, I think what is important is the folks that he fled with, and those are out there. These are trained folk, very dangerous, and think about it. All the stuff he has cutlasses, and he was snatching people's necks, and that's not an easy crime to just deal with. They have to get to the bottom of it, and I think we need to give folks the opportunity to go through the process. At some point, maybe there is not enough, case out there even to take him to court and prosecute him. So you have to gather in, all the evidences, and where you're going to present that, you need to be able to put pieces together. So and it is part of the interrogation process, and to build your case ultimately to go to the court. So we cannot have both ways. Or we need to take it, but folks are doing their work, and we are saying, oh, they are violating his rights. I mean, the guy who has killed people and dumped them.
It's okay with you for them to kind of apply this enhanced interrogation?
Oh, absolutely. But to apply every technique, as long as they are not. Thank God that they're not doing things that he did to others, right? Who passed away, and because we have a system in place. But I also think people just cannot continue to put pressure. They need to do their job. And people who went out there, Musa, it's a lot of collaboration. It's a lot of collaboration to go get where Sana was at. So there's pieces, intelligence sharing and everything, ultimately that leads to his capture. And they hand him over to Gambian authorities, and I think Gambian authorities needs to do the needful. I mean, to prosecute someone, you have to build cases. You have to build your case.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that is very, very important. And I'm just asking, and I know the activists are very motivated. They want to protect everything, but you also wanted to understand that the people who are doing this wants to gather enough evidence or enough information. It would be nice to bring Saul and Nyabali and all those people that are out there to justice. It would be very, very good. So including their big boss. But that pieces will take a lot to gather those, intelligence. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. So let's give them an opportunity to do their job.
I mean, again, as far as I don't really know much about the Sana Manjang case. All I know is he was arrested, taken to court, and he wasn't cooperating. Now, what they are doing or not doing in regards to get him to talk, I'm not privy to that. And
all they have to do is make him talk.
So I mean, these Americans, I mean, waterboarding is okay.
I don't know whether that's okay, but there's sleep deprivation, and
okay.
So there's a different techniques that you could do and then employ, and then that's within the technique of trying to get someone to talk and cooperate with you. So a man who knows definitely that he did all that. It is what it is. Well, I am just saying, let's all calm down and give the opportunity to the folks in charge to run it. Yes, and life will be good.
Yeah. So Sariang, it looks like
I thought someone is gonna call in. Oh,
yes, I'm still waiting for him. I put the link there. My man, go ahead and call in. If not, we really have to roll on.
Yeah.
The reason why I put the link on the I'm gonna put it again. Unless you're having problems.
Yeah, especially if you're using the phone, man, it becomes a little tricky. You have to
okay. So the link is right there. I send it again. I mean, just click on it if you're on a laptop.
Yeah, Mari, you are arguing from an activist view. I mean, that's totally okay. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. So, I mean, yes, his wife, but he killed.
How to see him?
He killed other people's children and wife and family and all that. So how do you balance that?
And so security and human rights at the same time. Yeah. Denying him such access undermines justice. Yet such access should not and cannot undermine and prevent justice. The state must act within professionalism and legality to get process and prosecute him. That's what Brother Mahdi is saying.
Yeah. Well, that's again, Mahdi, you remember a couple of weeks ago when he joined us on this program, he said they need to share with the public how they arrest him and all that stuff. I disagree with that position because I think that's a need-to-know basis. You're right. So it doesn't work perfectly in the real world, right? So these things are complex and it takes time. to gather information, where Sana's right ends. That's where somebody, how about people who've been waiting for justice for many years, who he actually rendered Honduras, I mean, horrible acts to them. They want justice, and it cannot go smooth without them putting pieces together in order to build up a case to prosecute it. So I think that's where I am, and I respect what Mahdi's take is, but I disagree that position.
If you were the Director General of CIST, NIA, because I'm getting American light, you were appointed as the Director General of CIST. So you're definitely going to explore some of these techniques.
I am. I'm not making any comment on that. But all I want to do is I want the process to take its due course. And there's a lot of. We all woke up one morning. We heard that Sana Manjang was captured. But prior to that, I'm sure there was a lot of efforts, coordination, bilateral, intelligence sharing, and everything else that took. And where Sana is captured, Musa, I can tell you, Senegal now, they're huge. They're huge on what? How do you call it? God damn it, man! What is it called? I forgot the name. It will come back. But this device can be. Can be deployed and they don't make too much noise, even in the buses and all that, but they detect human heat and you don't know. And they went out there, they found them and they brought them to justice. So I think it's only a month. I mean, people have been waiting for justice for how many years? Almost 8 years, 9 years. So it's okay. Definitely, that's okay.
So Mahdi is saying, Sarian, you're expressing vengeance and a life to light for the policy.
Yeah, because we come from a different
heinous crimes, and he should face justice.
Yeah.
We can deliver justice in line with human rights standards and justice.
Yeah.
So
I think we're speaking differently. And I'm saying that these issues are very complex. I mean, folks who are human rights activists and all that might not agree on what it is, but you know what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, we want justice, but we also want our country to be saved. That's all it is. And sometimes
with Sana Manjang, everything is fair game.
I don't know whether it's I'm going to call it, but what I'm trying to say is at this juncture, I think people just need to calm down and not draw human rights abuses. What is human rights abuse? They didn't touch on him. What did they talk? Just depriving him from seeing his family? I mean, call it what it is.
Because we stop putting the things out there. Mo, for negani Angleterre.
Yeah, Angleterre la neka nanga def.
Yense Angleterre bi moda pasamba di len dor dala rek. I mean, you guys are like pretty much. Minnesota Angleterre rek. Deman Lovell Square or Fitzgerald. I mean, are you looking at Angleterre?
Yeah. The BAM issues you are going to discuss again, Rek.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I said, you get told if neka ni, I said, soon lo yop da fawara neka bena, ak dego neka bena, rather than party yop di demal kuneka sa interest. I said, you popu lolu lenjis fu neka ni, nyinyi jisun deka bide, sen interest lenjis. E pare demba fana yenen ko gis ñu ngi am bena show as a deputy speaker ngay Sani Halis di May Halis si a musician.
Yeah.
Amanda gis ngeen ko Musa.
The Wally Secker show, of course.
Yes. Dafa do yaram ñi ñangi sonna ñi ngi am problem. Yo nga ne public servant ga. Ñu ngi la pay from taxpayers money. Ngay jokko ko paquet Halis be pare di Sani ay 10,000.
Why would also Halisam Lanak? I mean, I'm just saying. Sude Halisam la salary bun ko fay. He decided to go to Wally Secker, Momume. In that, I mean, I don't think there is anything wrong with that day.
Why Lulu not good living as a public servant guy def Lulu?
But the optics idalio as far as you are concerned. rafetul nonu de. But I'm just saying, where do you draw the line? I mean, people
as a public servant. How would somebody, okay, Musa, you're right now, America, so can a daramung for them play. A need to employ as a public servant. Dinga def di def lolu no nakala la ñi di gisé.
You have a problem with that.
Certain rek nga suba conclusion.
I mean, man lima rek moy ne he is not breaking any law. Come let's say for instance, man, I mean, whether public servant la in America, su jali ba ñëwé fi ni, wéyalon na ma fi wéy bu neex, may jël suma dollar yi di ko sanni. You know what I mean? Because it makes me, I'm African. Sometimes I want people to say nice things about me and my family. I mean, I'm not breaking any law. It's my money. So I'm just saying, if Sidi Njai goes to Nakalenko Oete, Wali Seka, because Gisnasa, Wali was even saying, Honorable Sidi Njai de Nyona, why President Baro, you've been taking Gumale, Gisumale.
Okay, well, that's fine. Don't give in Rex Mahalat, Rek.
No, Sahalat, obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people that are listening, and I'm sure some will agree with you. Clearly, opticsy, it doesn't have, I mean, for somebody like you said, the deputy speaker, to go out there, in a country that clearly, I mean, people are having challenges. I mean, is it a nice picture? No. But I'm just saying, though, it's his money. I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do with his money.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for that.
Do I know whether it's his money? I don't know that. So, but like I said, Komyo is a genuine. What else? I mean, what else do you want to raise? Want to talk about?
I'm just want to talk about party Nenyo Bena. Ñu mëna sét naka la ñom ñu na nekké.
Xam nga Nenyo Bena loolu dafa yomba. Nenyo Bena, everybody is saying that.
Yeah.
What would you suggest then? How do they need to come together? How?
Do they man luma suggest pour fu fekkene den buga ñew Bena bul ku nekk pour demal sa interest settle in njëriñ ndew bi. Wa Gambia ku nekk buga nekk leader. That's the problem ñu am nak. But they want to jail affaire tribe, take ko aside. That's another big issue. So we can nyange demal pull interest in dekabi.
Wow.
You take tribe aside, but you take affaire njit aside. You said kunga hamne ne dinamuna yobu dekabi. You take kofa.
Nga deganala, and I'm sure the people that are listening deganila as well. Well, hamga lan more interesting. When you hear statements like, for us to come together, then put aside sa interest, nga put interest in dekabi. Where do you draw the line? Lan moy interest in dekabi, ak lan moy interest in individual. I understand what you're saying. Why you linga folk ne, let's say for instance, person bi mo munge limo pursue interest amla, mo munge gisee ne interest in dekabi la. How many gis nga fi ma ñëwé?
Yeah,
because hamga ñu bari dañ dé wax lolu ne for us to have a very coalition we have to be honest to ourselves. Let's put aside our party's interest and put aside the country's interest. Hamga lolu, it's easier said than done. Dañ ko dé wax ni rek. But the devil is in the detail. How do you deal with that? Ongane put aside again another one that we always like to use, ne put aside tribe aside. I get it. Ordinarily, but again, we need to be, there's another word that we like to throw around. Who is putting pride ahead or putting self-interest ahead? And who is not? And the moment you get into that, putting the people together, they have a jeffing.
Yeah.
Understand what I mean?
Yeah,
So what we do is then generalize. We say that. I get it. Obviously, we put the interest of the country ahead. But most of these parties and politicians, they're telling you that's exactly what they are doing. How do you deal with that? So it's not as easy as we think sometimes. It's just putting together what we consider to be the interest. How many Sarian, you understand where I'm coming from with Brother Maron?
Yeah, I understand, but as you said, my opinion is how do you interpret that? I mean, people, the tribe and interests, all politicians, they are vying for their interests. So
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, how do you? We keep talking about this, and I don't know whether Mo you were following, but I think we found ourselves in a very, very difficult situation. I mean,
That's true. That's true, Mr. Marong.
I mean, with all the stuff that's been happening into Gambia, we don't want Barrow, we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't do this, to come together and form a coalition to go against him. Then we have a problem. We definitely have a problem. The formula to get to that has been difficult. People go at length, attack you, attack your family. It shouldn't be that.
No.
It's very exhausting. And what we all say, if you talk to everyone, bro, you, me, Musa Jeng, different people, oh yeah, the situation our country is in is very sad. But how do we get rid of that condition? Then they will give you different reasons. And I think what I found it very difficult sometimes is like they know what the truth is. We all seen it, but no one wants to accept it because we are so set out on our own biases and our own, thinking that our approach is the right approach, and it's difficult. It's very, very difficult, So I sometimes everywhere we go. Last weekend I was in Seattle. We had this debate 24th, and I said, "What is the off ramp? What is the solution?" They will not tell you what the solution is. They will go back to this whole thing, and I'm not gonna buy off on it, and I'm not being nice about it because I'm just tired of bringing the same old argument over and over.
Yeah.
And thinking that's gonna make it's not. You have to give in. Musa have to give in. I have to give in something and to come together. So we cannot agree on something, but I say, more, Father, let's come together and do this, and this, and this. That's what it is. But you just cannot be rigid in your position. And you said, nope, I'm not gonna compromise. That's it. I'm done. I found that, you know what that is? The urban legendary BS that you got, and nobody's gonna, don't get me going on that one, man. I'm telling you, it's just unfortunate, and I get what you're saying. Yes. But now all the stuff that you telegraph here, how do we come together? How do we come together?
It's a very difficult situation.
It is a difficult situation, and
I know you guys, all you're doing your best to come to put these people together. But what I see, everybody is going for his own personal interest and selfish. Sorry to say that.
They said, "Oh, Saria, now you are not credible because you are a good friend of Musa Jeng. Musa Jeng develop your ballet. No, how can you say this and all that?" Yeah. But I'm not independent to see what is right, and I can articulate my position. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
Anybody who thinks the answers are easy. So Mo, let me ask you this. So direct you more. What would you like to see this situation? In other words, it really comes down to who do we think should lead this and give us the change that we want, and then at least a victory. Who is that person?
Musa.
He's trying to corner you the more.
Musa, anga malolo duma komuna waspi. Understand? So ko wahe fi nyinyi dinen la buddi attack personally. Wow.
You see, that's my the reason why I asked that question.
Why kunga hamne ne munna yobu Gambia. Mandal awmasi tribe awmasi ken. Why kun fonne ne dafa fit munna yobu Gambia be pare du ñew nga xamne dafa dañoo am time limit. Nga xamne sunne 2 years bi joxe mu gëna. Rather than nit ñoo for the fat talk 25 years, 30 years.
The Koko Moikan.
I don't know, Musa.
I did.
No, Mo, you're doing the right thing. He wants to corner you. Don't.
No, Musa. Hanana Musa, dafa des si Gambian si send opinions.
I think that's the right answer, Mo. I think
Yeah.
you're on track.
Dafa def si Gambian si man munuma choosal kenne votal len ki.
That's
Why
true.
kunga hamne ne munna yobu Gambia te honest, te corrupted,
So,
te detailed power.
what about the name? It's kind of subjective.
Yeah.
Corrupted, kulila, kumuna yobureu. I mean, you can have all that, and then different people will see different person who can do that.
Yeah.
But like Moy, I think this is where be more gonna important Moy. What process? Ban process nga folk ne. Ban process in all of Moy dalil. But I think ban dalil lañ mëna utilize. Ba nga xamné dinañ mëna choose this individual. Ban process would you employ yo nga folk ne ñun ñep war nañu mëna ñëw join, because again it's going to come down to a process. So we want to be just fair about it. Now let's have a process instead of handpicking somebody, ne kimo winnable candidate, or kelemo ne could the winnable candidate, or kimo mo muna win, or ki mo the biggest party, or ki mo the amga, that kind of a thing. If we want to get out all of that, do you think there is a process that you will support that we can have this selection? Or have you thought about it?
So that's a very difficult one. Definitely. Sarian. Brother Sarian, hana yo ding mamuna answer lolo.
No, Mo, this is what I see. Politics is messy. It's difficult, but at least if you have a team where people will unite around that theme, right? So if you, before even you put your position out there, it's difficult. Or people saying this party or this, individual, we should not negotiate with this individual because this is their position. I think everything should be on the table, and people need to have a discussion about it. So say like 2016, who thought Barrow was gonna win? I mean, first of all, people were asking. I never met him. I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But because of there was unity, and people want change. They want Jammeh. They want to get rid of Jammeh.
Yeah.
They put him in there. There was a force of reckoning behind him that ultimately deliver victory to the coalition members, right? So we can replicate, maybe the formula might be different, but let's at least have a conversation. But shutting down doors and not want to have the conversation, I think it's a self-defeating prophecy. And I am very open to discussion, but this whole thing that people cannot even talk about it. We need to speak the truth. What is the truth? That's subjective, right? So everyone has his downsides, and at least we need to have this conversation, and clear strategy how we could come forward. And I think that's what if someone say, I'm going to put this meeting together, they accuse, this is being in the works for a while. So it becomes a very, very difficult. Who is going to be the leader? Who is going to lead that conversation? Is someone coming from the sky? I don't think so. It's Gambians who need to trust each other and kind of say, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. Because what I see from the current government, no, Brother Mo, they don't want to stop, because you have people around who think their lifestyle is great and they're not gonna let that go. So it's up to us, you and I, Musa Jing, and everyone that's watching. What is the strategy here? How do we come together and all that? And it's difficult. It's difficult and exhausting, and it's not easy terrain to go through. And I don't know how. I don't have a good answer, but I don't know. Hopefully, we all continue to pray that someday
that'll come down to prayers. Maru, you're settling for prayers.
Well, that's where we're hoping. I mean, someday they said, God will change minds. So hopefully,
that's true,
somewhere, seeing that, what, I think the track record I'm going is wrong, and it's not. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine that the man we woke up and the man win? I mean, you are talking about a one-party system. I mean, you're thinking that somehow these MPs and all that. No, I don't really think so. I mean, people will lose hope and say, you know what, we didn't come together, and I better align myself with the person in power, and it kind of
that's true.
Power. Yes.
That's what's going to happen, because if people are going for their own personal interests and selfish, at the end of the day, the Gambian people will say that, oh, these people are not serious. Let's just go and vote for the government.
Yeah. So, Mo, one more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mo.
I mean,
always calling, man. Calling.
Okay, Musajan, thanks you. Nice to talk to you.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm sorry, and if I got your number as well, that will be okay.
Okay, sounds good. Just send me an inbox. What is your last name, Mo?
I'm Job, Jobe.
Okay, sounds good. I'll look you up and I'll send you the number. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice talking to you. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he texts me from England.
It's 5 minutes, and now low energy, no stamina.
No, but you know what?
Huh?
When I called you before the show, you know, I was like, bro, what are we going to talk about? So it's always, because obviously
but my man Maddie is saying I'm talking like Dick Cheney today. But I think we came from different orientation, and I really I respect what you are fighting for, but I really think this one we need to give chance to the authorities to do the needful. I think at the end of the day, that's what we need. I mean, people deserve justice, and justice cannot be done if we haphazardly do the process. So as long as
but there's somebody said something. I'm not sure exactly what he meant. Lamin Konate. He said there's nothing difficult that we were talking about. We're gonna just do it as the world do it. Period.
Okay, what is that? I mean, it's subject to interpretation. Let him explain to us what the world does. I mean, I'm not understanding what he does.
I don't speak for him, but I think this is what he's saying, because I've heard UDP make this argument. Nay, the way you build a coalition, looking at historical data, they gather more votes. That's how you do it. You take that party, then you bring every other party, join in for a coalition. That's what Lamin Konate, unless Lamin, you think I'm misreading what you're saying.
Here's my rebuttal to that is, in hindsight, lessons learned from 2016, we had a lot of mistrust within coalition members. You cannot dismiss that. You got to listen to people, what their feedback is, and build upon that. So I think strategy needs to be shifted. And I'm not gonna just be set on and say, what is the proof? The one that's been done around the world, they have a constitution. I mean, there was one that says, you know what? In the second round of voting, let's come together and go against the individual. So I think there is a misconception of what people are saying. But you know what? They are entitled to their opinion.
Man, I mean, so do you think they should even implore or even look back into 2016 process? Because the 2016 process, each party brought about 70 delegates. Is that something that same vehicle can be used?
Musa, here is how I approach things.
Right.
One thing that came around that in fact, even selling that idea and people buying off on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Because everybody got rid of party labels and said, let's formulate something. Mm-hmm. You and I, if we're negotiating, Musa, I'll say, hey, despite, let's formulate something. Now let's forget about he is UDP, he is GDC, he's GDC doesn't count because they were not part of it. But PDOIS, and all that. What do? We need to get out there and talk to people. In order for people even to buy off on this idea, what do we need to sell to them? And remember, 2016, Musa, we had pitfalls. We had a lot of things that didn't go well, and we found ourselves in today's situation. Now, how do you address that particular issue? How do you address it?
Yeah.
How do you address it? Because people will say, "Oh, no. Last week I was there, and there were people were telling me, yeah, thinking about what has happened and all that. What is the fallback? Do we trust to go in coalition with UDP again? And you gotta listen to what they are saying from their position. Things that control that needs to be put in place were not. So they telegraph all this, but there should be some type of response to assure them that, okay, it's not going to happen. We move forward on it. But if that's not addressed, I mean, there's this mistrust and everything within. So I think people need to be careful and be cognizant. Musa, we know that. We all knew that. The coalition defeated Jammeh 18,000 votes. Yeah. And there were mistakes somewhere there when they adjusted it. I think the number came down. Yeah. But we have to be careful how we approach these things. If we say, I really think there should be different ingredients mixed together to build some type of formula that would get people to look at things in the right way, not being so rigid into a position that you think people are not people will move away from them.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And definitely that is going to be the last word.
That's the last word today. I'm not messing around, Father Most. So that's it.
That's it. I have to cut you behind the scenes to elaborate.
Well, with that though, I must thank all our viewers.
Yes.
And Happy New Year in advance.
Absolutely.
And Father Moses has been 3 hours. I mean, marathon. 5 a.m. We started with 4 hours. 4 hours. We started off at 1 o'clock. 10 a.m. at my time.
Because even I told Pasamba Negomane, bro, Pasamba told me he was going to be busy with their Congress thing. I was trying to fishing, and then I called you, and you're like, man.
But is he in Gambia or he's online?
He's online.
Oh, okay.
But again, we want to thank our viewers, though. We come here every
Happy New Year to everyone in advance. So, Musa, are we going to be off for 2 weeks or so? Is that what it is?
Well, we're gonna be on a break for the whole month of January.
Yes.
And we'll be back, inshallah.
Inshallah.
January, and then it will be, of course, very close to Ramadan.
Lamin Konata, I invite you for Benachin, man. Please.
Lamin,
don't be uptight about these issues, man. Let's shake it down and find something.
My brother used to say in politics, you know what this is.
All right, Father Moose.
Thank you much, bro.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Thank you to all our viewers, and appreciate you all. We will definitely be back in February, and we will continue the conversation as we move towards the 2026 presidential. It's going to be big. Thank you, guys.